LoveLore Library. Chapter 265. Why would I miss him? Huamin was confused by Nan Nan's question. But everyone says that young Master Su is interested in you. Don't take it seriously. Su Yu has tons of girlfriends and superstars. He's only here to relieve his boredom. Don't make fun of him. Fine, I think so too. Young Master Su never lacks women. After he leaves, I don't think I'll have the chance to see him again. Nan Nan's face was full of melancholy. Huamin smiled and didn't say anything else. Avoiding Su Yu was the best way for her to deal with the situation. Although Hua Xichen wasn't a good person, he was right. But his warning was right. It was best not to have anything to do with people like Su Yu. Entertainment headlines of the day: Su Yu, the boss of Imperial Star Entertainment, was discharged from the hospital. Luxury cars lined up to welcome him. The scene was like walking the red carpet at a film festival. Apparently, Xiao Qingya, Annie Liang, Li Sisi, Jian Tong, Wen Yonghui, and other A-list celebrities were all there. It was like a harem drama. In the end, Xiao Qingya was the only one who got to sit in the same car as Su Yu. It was obvious that her status was slightly higher. Midnight, Su Yu's private mansion was brightly lit and loud music was playing. Dozens of bikini-clad beauties danced by the pool. 4 or 5 men sat side by side on the chairs, admiring the night sky and the beauties. The atmosphere was very good. However, Su Yu didn't seem to be in the mood. He held a glass of red wine and occasionally took a sip. His other hand was scrolling through his phone. He seemed to be absent-minded. What's wrong? You're not yourself tonight. Hua Xichen walked over with a glass of wine. He pulled a chair and sat down across from Su Yu. Su Yu immediately pressed the return button and locked his phone. It's boring. I'm tired of this kind of life, day after day, Su Yu said nonchalantly. You've been in the sanatorium for long enough. Are you sick of it? It's all right, Su Yu answered vaguely. Hua Xichen took the initiative to ask, how was it? Did you get your hands on my little sister? Su Yu was obviously depressed. He licked his lips and said, your sister is probably gay. Huh, why do you say that? Hua Xichen laughed loudly. She probably doesn't like men. I'm too lazy to talk to her. Are you saying that you were rejected by Mian? Hua Xichen guessed. That's because she's deliberately playing hard to get with me. Don't all women like to play tricks like this? So, you still don't know her very well. Hua Xichen smiled again. Su Yu immediately rolled his eyes at him. You speak as if you know her very well. Don't forget that she hasn't returned to the Hua family for many years. She even made a statement. Hua Xichen's expression changed. He smiled bitterly. Yeah, she's such a stubborn person. No one can do anything to her. But don't worry, the difficulties are only temporary. None of the women I've set my eyes on can be sold. It's only a matter of time. Su Yu seemed to be full of confidence. He had money, looks, and power. He had everything that women in the world wanted. Huamin didn't believe that he wouldn't be moved. Upon hearing Su Yu's words, Hua Xichen immediately stopped smiling and advised, I advise you to give up. Why? You don't think I can handle her either? Hua Xichen shook his head. No, Mian is not a woman you can touch. Fuck, what are you talking about? What do you mean I can't touch her? I don't believe that there's a woman in Sea City I can't touch. Su Yu was immediately infuriated. I'm not looking down on you, but Mian has someone else in her heart. She won't accept you. I know, she told me that she has a boyfriend, but so what? Even if Huamin is the mother of my child, I still want to have her. I just can't accept it. After speaking, Siyu picked up his wine glass and downed it in one gulp. Hua Xiqian looked at him meaningfully and asked, "You don't seem to know who she likes. Does it matter who it is?" Siyu sneered. "Of course, when you find out who it is, you'll understand what I'm saying today. You make it sound so mysterious. Could it be you?" Siyu looked at Hua Xiqian meaningfully. Chapter 266. Of course not, Mian is my little sister. She's not your biological sister, Siyu said. Hua Xiqian's eyes seemed to flash with something. You're thinking too much, Lord Su. I don't like Mian's type. Yeah, you've always liked 36D and above. Huh, you know me best. Then, Hua Xiqian and Siyu chatted and stopped talking about Hua Min. However, they had also discovered something about each other. Hua Xiqian realized that Siyu was really interested in Hua Min. Because when he came over, he glanced at Suyu's phone and saw that it was a photo of Hua Min. Although he quickly pressed the return button, he still saw it. Siyu also realized that every time Hua Min was mentioned, Hua Xiqian's expression was more or less uncomfortable. Although he tried his best to hide his emotions. But who was Siyu? He wasn't a stupid wastrel with a lot of money. He was someone who had been in the military for N years. He was an elite in the special forces, and his skills and intelligence were top-notch. With his sharp intuition, he felt that Hua Xiqian's feelings for Hua Min weren't that simple. That wasn't how a sister should feel. Hua Min's promotion was actually very low-key. Other than the people in the hospital, she only told Qin Chu. But when she casually mentioned it, Qin Chu immediately ordered a table of hot pot at Orange Jasmine. Orange Jasmine hot pot was famous for its spicy ingredients. Because the ingredients in the hot pot were fresh and spicy, it was very popular. Also, because it was a high-end restaurant, even the beef was top-notch beef raised on a farm. So, it was said that a single hot pot meal cost tens of thousands of yuan. Qin Chu not only ordered hot pot, but also volunteered to make an appointment with Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling for her. Thus, when the four of them gathered for dinner again, the atmosphere changed again. "Oh, a new car. Looks like a new man. What does it have to do with you?" Zhu Lingling glared at Gao Ran. "I'm just wondering, which man is so blind to look for you? There are many blind men out there. No matter how bad I am, I'm still better than you. You're still single at this age. You deserve to be unlucky. Who are you calling a bachelor? Let me tell you, there are a lot of people chasing after me. There are baskets of policewomen in our unit alone. Do you understand? Baskets after baskets of potatoes, right? Are you sure it's a woman?" Zhu Lingling refuted. Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling, this pair of sworn enemies, would fight whenever they met. It was as if they were born to be natural enemies. Hua Min watched the drama unfold from the side and was extremely happy. Qin Chu, on the other hand, was calmly eating hot pot and even putting meat into his beloved wife's bowl. "Hey, can you two stop being so lovey-dovey? Are you trying to kill us single dogs?" Gao Ran yelled in dissatisfaction. "Hey, it's not us, it's you." "I'm not single," Zhu Lingling emphasized. "You'll be single very soon." "Pfft, how dare you curse me? If I really break up this time, I'm going to. If you break up, you'll be dating Gao Ran." "You two are a good match," Hua Min suggested while eating hot pot. Fine. Please forgive me, don't harm me. My eyesight is very good, I'm not blind." "It's okay, you'll go blind sooner or later." Hua Min laughed. "Qin Chu, can you control your wife? It's broad daylight, how can you curse a good cop like this?" Gao Ran looked at Qin Chu for help. "My wife's words make sense." "Damn, you're a total wife con now. You're hopeless, you've been poisoned too deeply. That's why a poor single dog like you can't experience the feeling of being in love. Zhu Lingling laughed. You guys eat, bye. After speaking, Gao Ran pretended to get up and leave. Pay the bill when you go downstairs, Qin Chu said slowly. Damn, you're so heartless. GK's big boss is asking a little cop like me to pay the bill. How can you do that? Not all cops can drive a Jaguar, so, you're still a capable cop. Huamin laughed hysterically. You ingrate, I took the day off to celebrate your promotion, and you two treat me like this? The boat of friendship really capsizes. Gao Ran's words made Zhu Lingling and Huamin laugh uncontrollably. Stop flipping, this meal is on me. Huamin immediately raised his hand and offered to pay the bill. Hey, Mian, I saw on the news today that Su Yu was discharged from the hospital, right? Zhu Lingling suddenly gossiped. Chapter 267. Huamin nodded. Yeah, he was discharged. I saw a lot of people there, there were tons of female celebrities there. Yeah, there were a few that I didn't recognize. There were a lot of onlookers and a lot of reporters. But I saw a tabloid article that said that while Su Yu was hospitalized at Southside, he had an ambiguous relationship with a nurse. Do you know her? Hurry up and tell us what happened. What's so interesting about entertainment news? It's just a rich guy hitting on girls. Boring, Gao Ran interjected as he ate a big mouthful of beef. You guys don't understand women's topics. Zhu Lingling immediately grabbed Huamin's hand and asked, hurry up and tell me. Huamin glanced at Qin Chu a little guiltily and replied, actually. I'm not too sure either. Su Yu always has bodyguards around him, so he doesn't easily interact with others. His privacy is very well protected. Oh, that's true. If someone like Su Yu were to create a scandal, the media wouldn't dare to report it. After Zhu Lingling finished talking to herself, she finally changed the topic. During dinner, Zhu Lingling picked up her phone and took a photo. Huamin, Qin Chu, and Gao Ran were all in the photo. Then, she sent the photo to her classmate group. The group immediately blew up. Zhu Lingling, is the photo real? Is that Huamin beside Qin Chu? Where are you guys eating? The hot pot looks pretty good. Zhu Lingling immediately rolled her eyes and scolded, these idiots, don't they know what's important? Not long after, Lu Xiying joined in and asked, is this orange jasmine? Lu Xiying was indeed an expert. She could tell that it was orange jasmine just by taking a photo of the hot pot. She had to admit that she was pretty good. Yeah, why? Do you want to come? Zhu Lingling asked provocatively. You think I don't dare? Lu Xiying replied. I'll wait for you. In less than 15 minutes, you'll be a coward. In fact, Zhu Lingling had always wanted to teach Lu Xiying a lesson. He never had the chance before, but now that he finally had the chance, how could he let it go? Huamin and Qin Chu had left the group, so they didn't know what they were talking about. About 10 minutes later, Lu Xiying pushed open the door and walked in. Huamin was dumbfounded. Not bad. You're on time, Zhu Lingling looked at Lu Xiying and said. Lu Xiying didn't say anything. She first glanced at Qin Chu, then walked over and found an empty seat to sit down. This is... Gao Ran looked at the woman who suddenly appeared in front of him in confusion. Huamin didn't say anything either. He was a little confused. Qin Chu, on the other hand, was expressionless. She's one of our high school classmates. I asked her to come. I didn't think she would actually come, Zhu Lingling explained. Qin Chu, have you been busy lately? Lu Xiying looked around, and her gaze finally stopped on Qin Chu's handsome face. Qin Chu didn't seem like he was going to answer. He picked up a shrimp with his chopsticks and carefully placed it in Huomin's bowl. Zhu Lingling smiled proudly. Today, we're here to celebrate Huomin's promotion. Oh yeah. You got promoted. Congratulations, Lu Xiying glanced at Huomin and said unhappily. Thank you. Qin Chu, my dad said that our companies have been working together, and Uncle Qin personally suggested it. It must be a good project. My dad said that you're amazing, and that GK is doing even better than before. Lu Xiying looked at Qin Chu with admiration. Qin Chu picked up a napkin and elegantly wiped the corner of his mouth. Then, he replied, I haven't heard of any collaboration with your father's company. If it was my dad's decision, then it's his personal decision. The board of directors would never approve it. Lu Xiying's expression turned ugly upon hearing this. Qin Chu still didn't give her any face. Chu, what's going on? Is she your fan? Gao Ran asked recklessly, as if he had figured out something. Qin Chu immediately shot him a murderous look. I do like Qin Chu. In fact, I've liked him for many years, Lu Xiying suddenly said straightforwardly. Chapter 268. Huomin looked at her in surprise, unsure of what she was trying to do. Gao Ran was also confused. You have to pick the right time to confess, and you obviously picked the wrong time. Plus, you already know that Qin Chu likes Huomin, yet you still want to get involved. You must be crazy, Zhu Lingling mocked. There's nothing wrong with loving someone, why can't I say it? Huomin felt a little awkward, so she glanced at Qin Chu. Are you full? Qin Chu asked gently. Huomin nodded. Qin Chu picked up a tissue and gently wiped Huomin's mouth in front of everyone. Then, he held her hand and said, let's go. Qin Chu pulled Huomin away, obviously not welcoming the uninvited guest, Lu Xiying. Zhu Lingling looked at Lu Xiying triumphantly. I'm sorry, I didn't even treat you to a bite. It's almost time, come earlier next time. Lu Xiying was so angry that her face turned pale. Gao Ran looked at Lu Xiying sympathetically, and then followed her downstairs. After they got home, Huomin sent Zhu Lingling a WeChat message to ask about the situation. Then, she felt sorry for Lu Xiying, as if she was played by them. Lingling, don't do that again. So what? Lu Xiying, that scheming bitch, used to talk about how close she was to Qin Chu in the group chat. The truth is, Qin Chu doesn't even care about her, it's just her own wishful thinking. Wishful thinking is her own business, but she's right, there's nothing wrong with liking someone. We don't have the right to laugh at her, nor do we have the power. Huomin felt a little uncomfortable about teasing Lu Xiying tonight, but she knew that Lingling was just helping her out. Got it, big sis. Be good, I'll treat you to good food another day. Go to bed early. After sending a WeChat message to Lingling, Huomin saw Qin Chu watching TV on the sofa. There was no expression on his face. She didn't know if he was angry. Lingling was indeed too much, therefore, she walked over with small steps and sat down beside Qin Chu. Do you want some fruit? No. Do you want some water? No. Do you want supper? Mian, we just ate. Qin Chu looked at Huomin helplessly. You're not angry, are you? What are you angry about? Just now. Lingling called Lu. What does that have to do with me? Qin Chu said casually. Then, what do you think about Lu Xiying's confession? Huomin asked tentatively. Actually, this was what she really wanted to ask. Someone confessed to her husband right in front of her. Needless to say, she didn't feel good about it. What do you want me to think? Qin Chu smiled and looked at Huomin. How would I know what you think? Oh, Lu Xiying is a good person. She's pretty. Is she? Why do I think she's just average looking? Huamin wasn't convinced. I think she's pretty. Really? Compared to me. As expected, when Huamin was childish, his IQ instantly dropped to 0. Qin Chu held back his laughter and replied, compared to you. Emichim, about the same. We both have our own merits. Really? If that's the case, you should get married to her. It's unfair for you to be with me. After speaking, Huamin angrily turned around and was about to leave. However, Qin Chu hugged her tightly from behind. Let go of me. You're angry already. Qin Chu looked at Huamin, whose face was red with anger, in amusement. I'm not angry, I'm very generous. I'll let you guys be together. Really? Qin Chu asked on purpose. Of course, let go of me. Hurry up and go hug Lu Xiying. Huamin desperately struggled to break free. In the end, she couldn't break free from Qin Chu's embrace. He just hugged her and whispered into her ear, Mian, you look very cute when you're jealous. Cute my ass. Qin Chu chuckled, you're still laughing. I'm so angry. Qin Chu lowered his head and bit Huamin's ear. He didn't use much strength, but it was very teasing. Qin. What? Qin Chu deliberately threatened. Honey, don't be like this, it's really itchy. Huamin was extremely nervous. However, Qin Chu didn't have any intention of letting her go. This was the first time she saw Huamin jealous, and it was because of a woman who had nothing to do with him. She knew that Qin Chu would never fall for Lu Xiying, but when she heard him say that Lu Xiying was pretty, she couldn't stay calm. Therefore, no matter how smart a woman was, when she met a man she cared about, all her intelligence and wisdom would turn to 0. She would only be left with silly cuteness. Huamin felt his heavy breaths coming from behind her ear, making her unbearably hot. Chapter 269. Huamin was a rather conservative person. She only had a comprehensive understanding of the relationship between men and women from books. As a medical professional, she could only objectively analyze from a physiological point of view. However, she lacked clinical experience. Other than that one drunken impulse 7 years ago, she had no other experience. Therefore, when Qin Chu teased her, Huamin's entire body tensed up. She was very nervous. Qin Chu hugged Huamin from behind with both hands and moved up and down restlessly. His cool lips blew warm breaths on her neck, and then he gently kissed her. He was very slow and very patient. However, Huamin felt that it was very dangerous. Huamin finally couldn't hold it in anymore. She turned around and was about to say, honey, her lips were bitten by Qin Chu, and then it was an extremely lingering French kiss. He kissed Huamin until she was dizzy and her entire mind was in a daze. Although she kept warning herself not to fall into his hands, however, her body's instincts told her that she couldn't resist at all. She was already at the edge. Under the bright lights, he looked at Huamin's face that was flushed red from shyness, her eyes that were tightly shut due to nervousness, and her slightly curled eyelashes. Qin Chu's eyes were filled with gentleness. He had always been a cold person, but he was extremely gentle towards Huamin. He had always been a proud person, but he was a warm man towards Huamin. He had always been a fickle person, but he was completely infatuated with Huamin. He had always been a man of few words, but he was only talkative towards Huamin. Huamin just kept her eyes tightly shut. Then, she felt a pair of warm hands gently caressing her collarbone, and all the way down, she was so nervous that her cheeks were about to bleed. However, even so, she still didn't have the courage to push Qin Chu away. This was because the man in front of her was the only man she loved deeply in her entire life. Suddenly, there was no movement. Qin Chu didn't make any further moves. The air became abnormally quiet. Huamin curiously opened her eyes. She saw that Qin Chu was looking at her, not moving at all. You. She opened her mouth, but she didn't know what to say. What are you waiting for with your eyes closed? Chin Chu's lips curled upwards, and he chuckled. Hua Min immediately came back to her senses. She closed her collar, and her face darkened as she said, Chin Chu. What a joke. Hua Min's face, Hua Min's eyes, Hua Min, of course. I was thinking that the hot pot we ate at just now was really spicy. Why are you blushing? Hua Min of Min. Chin Chu, Hua Mian's, Chin, of Min, and. Chin Chu's eyes were full of smiles. This was his first time flirting with this girl. She was really cute when she looked like that. Originally, Chin Chu really wanted to take the opportunity to eat her up, but he felt that the atmosphere wasn't good enough. He was no longer in a hurry. He had already seen that Hua Min cared about him. Therefore, he had to wait for the right atmosphere to create a scene for the two of them to make love again 7 years later. He had to create a scene that Hua Min would never forget, so just now, he was really just teasing Hua Min. He thought of it as revenge on her for always rejecting him. When he saw Hua Min's shy expression and awkward response, he felt really good. After Hua Min straightened her clothes, she immediately sat back down on the sofa, turned on the TV, and watched Bonnie Bears. She pretended as if nothing had happened. Just now, were you looking forward to something? No. But you looked a little disappointed. Was it because you weren't satisfied? Pfft. Chin Chu, you bastard. Do you not want to sleep in my bed tonight? Honey, I was wrong. Why don't we continue what we were doing just now? Chin Chu reached out and put his arm around Hua Min's shoulder. However, she immediately turned around and carried him behind her. Hey. Honey, calm down. I was just teasing you. Chin Chu, aren't you afraid that you won't have any friends? Hua Min never thought that one day, she would be teased by Chin Chu. She really thought that something was going to happen. In the end, not only did it not happen, but Chin Chu even saw right through her. Where was the justice? Hua Min and Chin Chu were flirting in a mansion, while young Master Su was drinking alone in a nightclub. Hey, why is young Master Su so depressed after he was discharged from the hospital? A rich kid next to him asked quietly. Chapter 270. Yeah, did you notice it too? Yeah, it's too obvious. We used to get high when we were drinking, but recently, young Master Su seems to have a lot on his mind. Yeah, we noticed it too, but no one dared to ask. Yeah, let's not get scolded. Our ancestor is in a bad mood, so we should all be careful. The young masters whispered to each other. Siyu was dressed in a white casual outfit, and he was very eye-catching in the nightclub. He leaned against the sofa with a glass of red wine in his hand. He rested his head on the back of the sofa and stared at the ceiling, deep in thought. The socialites and models didn't dare to approach him. They could tell that he was in a bad mood, so it was best not to provoke him. Hui Yanyan rarely had the chance to come, but she and Suyu weren't in the same circle. She was able to squeeze in because she had spent a lot of money to buy a limited edition Hermes bag for a female model in the circle. That was why the model agreed to bring her here. Xiaoyu, young Master Su seems to be in a bad mood today, Wei Yanyan whispered to the model who brought her here. Yeah, everyone says that young Master Su hasn't been himself lately, so no one dares to hit on him. I heard that even Zhao Qingya hasn't dared to come to him these days. Really? I see. Hui Yanyan obviously knew about Zhao Qingya and Su Yu, but she didn't care. What? Don't tell me you want to hit on young Master Su. I advise you not to. Why not? Young Master Su is so outstanding, isn't it normal for me to like him? Hui Yanyan smiled. Xiaoyu shook her head. Young Master Su has a bad temper, and women like us can't handle him. I advise you to change your target. Young Master Tang isn't bad either, he's rich and gentle, why don't you give it a try? Are you talking about Tang Chuan? I don't like guys like him, he's wearing eyeliner and pretending to be Korean. I can't stand it. Hui Yanyan looked at a young man not far away in disdain. Anyways, I've already said what I wanted to say, you're on your own. Xiao Yu and Hui Yanyan weren't actually close, but Hui Yanyan introduced her to her friend. Since Hui Yanyan gave her a bag, Xiao Yu recommended her to come here. Hua Xiqian and Su Yu were nice, but Hui Yanyan had no intention of begging Hua Xiqian. The Hua family's internal strife with Xiao Yu know what, Xiao Yu and Xiao Yu do what? She had persuaded Hui Yanyan. As for what to do, it was her own business. Xiao Yu no, Xiao Yu see Hui Yanyan gritted her teeth, got up, and walked over to Su Yu with a glass of wine in her hand. She purposely chose a new dress from Gucci. It was a navy blue dress with a blue hemline and a blue and red ribbon at the collar. It was elegant and beautiful, definitely not Hui Yanyan's style. However, she heard that young Master Su liked fresh clothes, so she decided to dress up as a Korean girl. Who knew, maybe Su Yu would take a fancy to her. Hello, young Master Su. I'm Hui Yanyan. It's our first time meeting, nice to meet you. Hui Yanyan smiled sweetly. Her long hair fell to her waist, and she had a good figure. She thought that even if she didn't make Su Yu fall for her, she would still leave a good impression on him. Su Yu slowly opened his eyes and lazily glanced at the woman in front of him. What? In his days, he only heard the woman say that her last name was Hua, but he didn't care what her last name was. He was more interested in the fact that she said her last name was Hua. He seemed to be more sensitive to this last name. Chapter 271. Hui Yanyan thought that Su Yu was interested in her, so she immediately beamed with joy. Young Master Su, my name is Hui Yanyan. Yan is a female character with the word open. Open. That's a pretty slutty name. After Su Yu said this, the people around them couldn't help but laugh. Hui Yanyan suddenly felt very awkward. Young Master Su. I've heard of your name for a long time. Today is an honor, so let me toast to you. After speaking, Hui Yanyan downed the glass of red wine in one gulp. She was quite generous. Unfortunately, Su Yu didn't buy it. He put down the wine glass in his hand on the coffee table, with no intention of drinking at all. Hui Yanyan's expression turned slightly ugly. She didn't think that Su Yu would be so heartless. However, Hui Yanyan gritted her teeth and still hoped that she could make a breakthrough. Therefore, she picked up the glass of wine on Su Yu's table and said, Young Master Su doesn't seem to be in a good mood today, so of course he's not in the mood to drink. I think I can hold my liquor well, so I can finish it for you. After speaking, Hui Yanyan picked up Su Yu's glass and volunteered to finish it for him. At this moment, Jewel's expression completely changed. Hui Yanyan, this woman really doesn't know how to get herself into trouble. Su Yu was famous for being a clean freak, and the entire industry knew about it. Hui Yanyan definitely knew, but she still did it. There was only one possibility, and that was that she did the opposite to attract Su Yu's interest. It was just like how Zhao Qingya stopped Su Yu's sports car in the middle of the night and almost lost her life because of the tires. As expected, when he saw Hui Yanyan finish his glass, Su Yu reached out and picked up the empty glass. He slowly stood up, everyone looked over and held their breaths. Hui Yanyan thought that Su Yu was finally going to say something to her. With a cracking sound, the glass was smashed to pieces, scaring the others. Young Master Su. Everyone stood up. It's so dirty. Su Yu looked at the glass, not sure if he was talking about Hui Yanyan or the glass. Young Master Su, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Hui Yanyan pretended to be innocent. Before she could finish speaking, Siyu looked at her and said, "In the entire Hu family, you have the worst genes." After speaking, Siyu walked away, and the group of young masters behind him also stood up. Hui Yanyan was left standing there in a daze. After leaving the nightclub, Siyu got into his black Lamborghini Sixth Element. Then he sped away. As he sped through the night, his mood became even worse. Hui Yanyan was so stupid, but she was allowed to live in the Hu family. Hu Min was such a good person, but she had to lead a wandering life. Was that fucking old man Hu blind? As he thought about this, his mood became worse and worse. He suddenly stopped the car under a big tree on the side of the road. Suyu took out his phone and dialed a number. Starting tomorrow, stop all business deals with the Hu Corporation. The next morning, Hu Xiqian arrived at the company to hear that the Su Corporation was withdrawing their investment and would never work with them again. He immediately called Suyu. "Young Master Su, did I do something wrong? Why are you not working with us?" Hu Xiqian asked with a smile. "I don't like the Hu family," Suyu replied stubbornly. Hu Xiqian sighed. "Fine, when you're happy, don't forget to continue working with us, haha." Suyu didn't say anything else and directly hung up on Hu Xiqian. In this city, because he was Suyu, he didn't have to give face to anyone. He was just that stubborn. After Hu Xiqian hung up, he immediately investigated and found out that the idiot Hui Yanyan actually went looking for Suyu last night. Apparently, she even made a fool of herself. After the executive meeting, Hu Xiqian saw board member Shen Jiani in the hallway. "Tell your precious daughter to stop trying to get close to Suyu." "Ha! You don't have the right to care about this, do you? Our Yan Yan can be friends with whoever she wants." Shen Jiani chuckled. "If she wants to die young, then let her continue. But don't drag the company down with you, or else I won't forgive her." After saying this, Hu Xiqian adjusted his tie, turned around, and left. Shen Jiani's expression changed when she heard this direct threat. Was this an official declaration of war? Chapter 272. Ever since she became the head nurse at Southside, she became busier and busier. Many other departments would even ask her for help. Everyone heard that she was skilled in medicine and serious at work, so Hu Min had less and less time to spend alone. Qin Chu protested a few times, but she got away with it. Finally, she had a weekend off and wanted to spend time with Qin Chu. However, she found out that Mr. Qin was working overtime today. When she was cleaning up in the morning, she saw on TV that GK's Warm West Hotel was cutting the ribbon today. Apparently, many people were there to watch. It was an unprecedented event, and the scene was comparable to a movie release. Therefore, Hu Min had an idea and thought that she could give Mr. Qin a surprise. She took out a black Nike sportswear from her closet and put on a white baseball cap. She instantly returned to her school days. Then, she took out a white mask, put on some makeup, and went to the ribbon-cutting ceremony. She squeezed into the crowd and wanted to take a few pictures of Qin Chu with her phone, but she found that it was not that easy. There were too many people around her, and many girls were screaming and calling Mr. Qin hubby. She was speechless. After the final cut, Hu Min saw Qin Chu enter the hotel lobby behind him, so she quietly followed him in. When Qin Chu was about to enter the lounge with his assistant, Hu Min pushed the people in front of her aside. She suddenly rushed over and grabbed Qin Chu's hand. "President Qin, can we take a picture together?" Qin Chu was slightly surprised when he heard her voice. At this moment, 4 or 5 bodyguards in black came out of nowhere and immediately grabbed Hu Min. Then, they dragged her out, as if they were going to throw her out. Her hands were tied, and she couldn't take off her mask. She was going crazy. At this critical moment, Qin Chu suddenly yelled, "Let her go, President Qin, she might be a crazy fan." She's very dangerous, Assistant Yang reminded him. Let her go, let her in. After saying that, Chin Chu pushed the door open and walked into the lounge. Hua Min was stunned. Why would Chin Chu suddenly do this? Did he recognize her? Impossible. She was already wrapped up like Xiong air. This didn't make sense. Let her go. Hurry up. Didn't you hear me? Assistant Yang shouted. The bodyguards released Hua Min, and under everyone's gaze, she walked towards Chin Chu's lounge. The journey was extremely difficult. In order to avoid being recognized, she deliberately pulled down the brim of her hat and raised her mask. When she opened the door and entered, before she could even get a clear look at the situation, she was picked up by the waist. She had screamed out loud, "Ah! Let me go. You're so naughty. How should I punish you?" Chin Chu lowered his head and tore off her mask with his mouth. Below was Hua Min's extremely delicate and pretty face. Hearing the scream outside, the bodyguards couldn't stay calm anymore. Their faces were full of expressions. Assistant Yang was also speechless. Was the president's taste this weird? How could he molest a female fan in the lounge? Moreover, he didn't even know her and she was wearing a mask. Wasn't this a bit too exciting? Honey, can you put me down first? Hua Min was embarrassed by his hug and immediately said with a red face. Did you know that you were almost thrown out by my bodyguards? I know. Then why did you do it? Hua Min was so self-righteous even when she made a mistake. He was speechless. I wanted to give you a surprise. Do you think it's easy for me? Chapter 273. I'm not surprised, but I'm scared. Do you know how bad I'd feel if anything happened to you? Chin Chu's heart ached. If he didn't recognize her voice, she would have been thrown out by the bodyguards. If anything happened to her, wouldn't it be the same as digging out his heart? Did this woman know about this? I'll be fine. Hua Min felt a little guilty as she stole glances at Chin Chu. The best way to deal with Hua Min's twisted logic was to force a kiss. As expected, Chin Chu threw her onto the sofa, pressed her down, and kissed her passionately. He only let her go when she had no more energy left in her. Just then, someone knocked on the door. Sir, there's a press conference in a bit, please control yourself. Control. Chin Chu's face darkened. Assistant Yang was itching for a beating. Chin Chu opened the door unhappily and looked at Assistant Yang. Postpone it for an hour. Sir. Say one more word and you'll pack up and go home. Then, he slammed the door shut. Assistant Yang felt wronged and forced back the words he wanted to ask. Mr. Chin, don't you think you're being a little too willful? Hua Min asked, sweating. So now it's your turn to kiss me, or should I continue kissing you? Hua Min felt like he was a lamb in a tiger's den today. Was there a CEO like this? He didn't even do business and was flirting with girls in the lounge. Oh my god, how did someone like this get to the top of the top 10 list? 40 minutes later, Hua Min put on a mask and ran out. Although she walked quickly with her head down, she still felt a few bodyguards and Assistant Yang looking at her strangely. They probably thought she was just a female fan who came to show up. A minute later, Chin Chu walked out with a light layer of lipstick on his lips. Sir, here you go. Assistant Yang almost made a mistake, so he immediately handed Chin Chu a tissue and flattered him. Chin Chu proudly took it and elegantly wiped the corners of his mouth. Actually, he couldn't bear to wipe off his wife's mark, but he had no choice. He had to hold a press conference later. Hua Min's sudden appearance had indeed brought him a pleasant surprise. He really wanted her to stay for dinner. But it was really inconvenient, because it was the cutting ceremony, and there were too many news media. Min had always been unwilling to publicize their relationship, and he didn't want to force her. Imperial Star Entertainment headquarters. Piles of documents were piled up on the desk. Suyu was playing with a pen in his hand. He was not in the mood to deal with work at all. Director Su, these people are the information of the newcomers that the company signed this year. September Encounter is about to start filming, and the producer wants you to choose a newcomer to be the second female lead. Suyu's assistant was a woman in her 40s. Her eyes were sharp, and she was known for being a workaholic. Her work was swift and decisive. It was said that Suyu had spent a lot of money to poach her from S-City. She was a female doctor who had returned from overseas. Lisa, it's up to you. Director Su, September Encounter is the idol drama that our company is promoting this year. It involves a lot of commercial interests, so it's best that you make the decision yourself. If you don't want to look at them one by one, how about I send the information to your email? No need, recommend a few and I'll pick one, Suyut said absent-mindedly. In the end, Lisa opened the information in her hand and said, I've carefully selected them. There are a total of 68 newcomers, and only 3 stand out. One is called Qing Xiaomei. Her name is too old-fashioned, so I've changed her stage name to Qing Shiruo. The second one is called Wang Shuang. She looks very pure and is more suitable for school dramas. She can be made into a goddess of the new generation of otakus. The third one is very pretty and well-behaved. It's just that she has the face of an internet celebrity, so there's nothing special about her. I think she must have had plastic surgery. She even changed her stage name to Mian Mian. Her fans call her Mian Mian. Mian Mian. Suyu's interest was finally piqued. Yeah, that's a pretty old-fashioned name. Who said that? I think it's a pretty good name. She'll be the one. Suyu made a quick decision. Director Su. Lisa wanted to say something, but she saw that Suyu had lowered his head and was playing with his phone again. Just like that, the girl named Mian Mian was hit in the head by the goddess of luck. She probably didn't know that her selection had nothing to do with her beauty or figure. Even Suyu didn't know what she looked like. She was selected just because there was a Mian in her name. That night, at the company's celebratory party, a sweet-looking girl walked over. Hello, Director Su, I'm Mian Mian. Thank you for giving me this precious opportunity. I will continue to work hard and not let you down. Suyu immediately turned around when he heard the name Mian Mian. Chapter 274. After getting a good look at the woman's face, Suyu's eyes were filled with disappointment. It was undeniable that this was an exquisite and beautiful face. She was still young, but it wasn't a face that could move his heart. The girl probably had too much plastic surgery, so her smile was a little stiff. Up close, it affected her beauty. President Su, I'd like to propose a toast to you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Suyu's expression turned cold. No need. Then, he turned around and ignored the girl named Mian Mian. He didn't say a single word to her the entire night. Mian Mian felt wronged. She took the opportunity to go to the bathroom and secretly ask Lisa. Sister Lisa, didn't President Su personally pick me to be the second female lead? Why does it seem like he doesn't like me? Mian Mian thought that Suyu liked her because of her beauty and wanted to take her away that night. She was willing to sleep with him. She knew that if she could sleep with Suyu, she would have a meteoric rise in her life. All of the women that Suyu had slept with in the past had all become successful. I'm not sure either. Lisa didn't know why Suyu chose Mian Mian either. She thought that President Su would choose the youthful and beautiful Wang Shuang. At least that girl didn't have plastic surgery. However, she didn't think that President Su would have such vulgar tastes. How could she have known that this girl was riding on someone's coattails just because her name was Mion? When it was time to leave that night, Mion didn't give up and went up to help Suyu up. "President Sue, let me help you." Her voice was soft and soft. "Go away, don't touch me." He flung Mion away, almost causing her to fall to the ground. Suyu's temper was well known in the industry. He never treated women gently and was often very rude to them. Of course, he didn't beat them up violently, but he was very rude to them. Only one person was an exception. "It seems like President Sue doesn't plan on sleeping with you. Don't think too much about it. Go back and focus on filming," Lisa reminded Mion after she understood what was going on. "Yes, Sister Lisa." Mion left in a strapless evening gown with tears in her eyes. Suyu got into the black Lamborghini with a cold expression. "President Sue, should I call the chauffeur to send you home?" Lisa asked with concern. "No need." With that, he stepped on the accelerator and sped away. Inside the private villa. Still not sleepy, he took a bottle of Lafite from the wine cabinet and poured himself a drink. The phone was placed on the coffee table. At a glance, he could see that on the silver-gray 6S screen was a girl wearing black-rimmed glasses and a white coat. Her eyes were a little silly and cute, and her appearance was delicate and pretty. After drinking a glass of wine, Suyu became even more depressed. He stretched out his finger and stroked the photo on the phone screen. He laughed self-deprecatingly. "What the hell? I actually wanted to see you so much." He didn't have Huamin's WeChat, but he had her phone number. However, he didn't want to call her because he knew that Huamin had a boyfriend. If he called her at this hour, it would probably cause a couple to fight. Although Suyu really wanted to compete, he wanted to do it openly. He didn't want to do something so despicable to ruin things. The more he thought about it, the more annoyed he became. Thus, he decided to call his good buddy, Wei Liao. Wei Liao was still half asleep. He looked at the time on his phone and cursed, "Lord Su, what time is it? Why aren't you sleeping?" "I can't sleep." "If you can't sleep, then go find a girl and have sex," Wei Liao said without hesitation. "Fuck you, I'll give you 10 minutes to come to my place. I'm not interested in men." Wei Liao laughed. "Don't worry, with your pretty face, you're not my type." Wei Liao hung up the phone and drove to Suyu's villa in less than 8 minutes. As expected, other than drinking with him, Suyu wouldn't do anything else. "Are you in a bad mood?" Wei Liao put one hand in his pocket and smiled evilly. "Yeah. You've been like this lately. Which girl is so powerful that she can make you lose your mind? I really want to meet her." Wei Liao could roughly guess what was going on with Suyu. After all, Suyu had never lacked money, and he hadn't heard of anything happening to the Su family recently. The only thing that was troubling him was that he had his eyes on a girl, but he couldn't get her because Suyu had complained about him in the WeChat group. Sigh. At the mention of this, Suyu became even more depressed. He sighed and drank another glass. Wei Liao smiled and walked over. He picked up Suyu's empty glass and looked at it. "Lord Su, this isn't like you." Chapter 275. What's my style? Suyu raised his head. Swift and decisive. "If you like someone, just do it. As far as I know, I've known you for more than 20 years and you've never chased a girl for more than an hour. Because in front of your status, those girls can't even be reserved." Wei Liao was right. Back then, there was a small celebrity who wanted to play hard to get. Suyu liked her, but she wanted to reject him. In the end, Suyu slept with that female celebrity's junior that night. The next day, that female celebrity became the female lead of a blockbuster and turned her life around. By the time that small celebrity regretted it and came to Suyu had already forgotten who she was. Later, everyone in the industry knew that young Master Su didn't like rejection. If he was interested in you, you just had to come over and undress. Because if you acted a little pretentious, this opportunity would be gone and you might never see Suyu again. She's different from them, Suyu said seriously. What's different? Aren't they all women? Just throw money at them. If it's that easy, why would I need you to teach me? Suyu was angry. That's right. With your intelligence, you can get a woman in minutes. But if you fail, it can only mean 3 things. Wei Liao also analyzed seriously. Suyu was stunned. What 3 things? Wei Liao raised his index finger. First, it proves that she doesn't love you. She might have someone she likes and doesn't care about you. Yes. Suyu nodded and admitted this point. Wei Liao continued to raise his middle finger. Second, it proves that she's not greedy for money. Because if she's with you, she can have endless money. But she doesn't. It proves that she's not interested in your status. That's right. Suyu gave him a thumbs up. Wei Liao's analysis was completely correct. Thirdly, it proves that she has a strong personality. To put it bluntly, she's awesome. Isn't there a domineering saying on the internet? Maybe you're awesome, but I don't necessarily like you. I think the girl you like might be one of those rare awesome types. Suyu stood up and patted Wei Liao's shoulder. I think you are awesome too, Zhuge Liang. Looks like I'm right. Wei Liao smiled confidently. It's perfect, that's all. So, tell me, what should I do to get her? Rape. Get lost. Seeing Wei Liao's nonsense, Suyu lost his patience. Really, I'm not teasing you. Young Master's idea is to fuck her if you like her. Even if it's rape, it doesn't matter if you go to jail. If you're afraid of going to jail, then you don't have the right to say that you love her. If you go to jail, then wait until you're released. After you're released, continue to rape her. Are you a clown sent by monkeys? Suyu's face was completely black. He originally wanted to ask this guy for advice, but what kind of ideas did he come up with? It was simply a scam. On the other side, after the press conference, Qin Chu immediately rushed home. After having dinner with Huamin, the two of them were very free. Huamin suggested that they go watch a movie. He said that there was a big Hollywood movie called Fantasy Forest, and the 3D scenes were very shocking. Qin Chu doted on his wife, so naturally, he would listen to whatever she said. In the end, the two of them drove to a nearby Wanda Plaza. Perhaps because it was the weekend, there were a lot of people. Qin Chu went to buy the tickets, popcorn, and Coke. This made Huamin very happy. She didn't think that Qin Chu would be so considerate. She didn't know that Qin Chu bought the tickets because he had watched a movie with Yang and his wife last time. However, when Huamin received the tickets, she was a little dumbfounded. Reserved the whole place. Yeah, VIP room, just the two of us. Qin Chu nodded. But won't it be scary? Huamin was afraid that fewer people would watch a movie and she would feel insecure. It's okay, I'm here. It's because you're here that I'm scared. I don't know what you'll do to me. Huamin said in all seriousness. Qin Chu, I was just kidding, did you really think I was serious? Huamin couldn't help but laugh when she saw Qin Chu's dumbfounded expression. As the two of them chatted and laughed, a familiar voice suddenly shouted, "Sis." Huamin turned around, and her expression changed drastically. Chapter 276. Huamin and Qin Chu didn't expect to run into Jing Jixin here. Jing Jixin came with a female classmate. She was a shy girl who wore glasses and wasn't very pretty. Jixin, why are you here? Huamin asked. My classmate and I came to watch a movie. We just bought it. Oh. Huamin felt a bit awkward. Sis, this is my classmate, Jing Yanru, Jing Jixin introduced. Then, he said, this is my sister, Huamin. Then, Jing Jixin looked at Qin Chu and said, this is my sister's boyfriend. Hi, sis, hi, brother-in-law. Jing Yanru was shy and greeted them shyly. Qin Chu nodded slightly in return. Huamin felt very embarrassed. If he knew that he would be found out, he would have just told Jixin the truth. Oh, hi. Sis, which movie are you guys watching? Jing Jixin didn't seem to mind that his sister and Qin Chu were together. We're watching The Fantasy Forest. We're watching that too. Why don't we go together? Jing Jixin was a bit happy. No, you guys go watch it, Huamin politely declined. However, Qin Chu said, then let's go together. There are a lot of empty couches in the VIP room anyway. Really? That's great. We're VIP, we'll benefit from it. Jing Jixin smiled. Finally, the four of them walked into the theater together. They sat on the loose couches. The girl was very reserved and would secretly tug on Jing Jixin's sleeve from time to time, whispering something to him. Qin Chu, on the other hand, kept his arm around Huamin's waist. Although he really wanted to do something more intimate, his brother-in-law was right in front of him, so he couldn't do it. After awkwardly watching the movie, the four of them walked out together. Sis, are you hungry? Do you want to eat something? No. Huamin immediately refused. The atmosphere was really awkward. She was with Qin Chu behind Jixin's back, and Jixin was also in a relationship behind her back. Oh my god. It's getting late. Let's go back first. We can go together another day if we have the chance. Qin Chu was more polite. Okay, brother Qin Chu, we'll leave first. Be careful. Jing Jixin happily said goodbye to Qin Chu and Huamin. Before he left, he didn't forget to remind his sister, be nice to Qin Chu, don't be too mean. Mind your own business, you little brat. Huamin knocked Jixin on the head. Actually, Jixin had a reason for saying this. When Huamin and Qin Chu were dating, Jixin had a lot of things to say. Huamin was 17 years old, while Jing Jixin was only 12 years old. However, he witnessed how his sister treated his future brother-in-law. On the way back, Huamin was a little absent-minded. What's wrong? Are you afraid that Jixin will tell your mom? Qin Chu drove with one hand and tightly held on to Huamin's hand with the other. Huamin shook his head. No, I'm worried about Jixin. You're worried that the girl got close to him because he drove the sports car I gave him. Qin Chu hit the nail on the head. Huamin immediately nodded, don't worry, he's old enough to deal with things his own way. Jixin is too naive, I'm just worried that he'll get hurt. Then you can't take care of him forever. He has to grow up on his own. Huamin nodded. Then, he tiredly laid his head on Qin Chu's lap. If you do this, I won't be able to control myself. What are you thinking? Focus on driving. Huamin secretly pinched Qin Chu's thigh and gritted his teeth in anger. Jixin just told you to be gentle with me. How about you and Jixin? Huamin rolled her eyes at him. Qin Chu pursed his lips. He was amused and didn't dare to provoke his mistress anymore. Perhaps it was because lying on Qin Chu's lap was too relaxing, so he actually fell asleep. When Huamin woke up, he found that they were still in the car. An hour had already passed. Are you crazy? Why didn't you wake me up? Huamin shot up. You were sleeping too soundly. Chapter 277. But you can't just let me sleep on your lap. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Chin-Chu's love for her had spoiled her to the point that she was out of control. The two of them stayed in the Maybach for an hour. Wanda Plaza was less than 10 minutes away from Imperial Park. Just like that, Huamian fell asleep on Chin-Chu's lap for an hour. During this hour, Chin-Chu sat there quietly. What a quiet and handsome man. It doesn't matter, as long as you slept well. Honey, you're so good to me, I'll be proud. You have the right to be proud. Hey, let's go upstairs. Huamin opened the car door. Just as she was about to get out, she realized that her legs were numb. Maybe it was because she was sleeping in such a comfortable position that she couldn't feel her legs at all. She couldn't even muster up any strength. What's wrong? My legs are numb. Don't move, I'll carry you. Chin-Chu walked over and reached out his hands to carry her. Huamin suddenly said, Honey, carry me upstairs. Chin-Chu paused for a moment, then said one word, okay. Huamin suddenly wanted Chin-Chu to carry her. It was more romantic. With Chin-Chu's body and strength, it was easy for him to carry her. There was no pressure at all. She thought they were going to take the elevator up, but why did the scene change? Hey, the elevator is over there. Huamin pointed to the other side. I know. Then why are you still walking this way? I want to take the stairs. Brother, we're on the 16th floor. I know. Then why are you still walking? It's just the 16th floor, it doesn't matter. I just want time to slow down and enjoy our time together. If one day I'm old, I won't be able to carry you anymore. So, while I'm still young, I want to carry you a few more times and leave some beautiful memories. Without waiting for Huamin's response, Chin-Chu went up the first flight of stairs. Huamin felt his eyes sting. She felt that Chin-Chu was the biggest idiot in the world. There was an elevator, but he chose to take the stairs. Furthermore, it was the 16th floor. Wouldn't it tire him to death? When they reached the 8th floor, Chin-Chu slowed down. Hubby, I'll walk by myself. No need. Just like that, by the time Chin-Chu carried Huamin back to the front door, he was already sweating profusely. His black shirt was also soaked with sweat. Along the way, Huamin was lying on Chin-Chu's back, enjoying the only attention in the world that belonged to her. She believed that in this world, there would never be another man who would treat her so well. No one would love her as much as Chin-Chu loved her. She would never allow any man to carry her on his back with a clear conscience. They were each other's one and only. They were the people that they couldn't lose in their lives. Previously, when she was with Ning Ziyuan, she always felt that the past was the past, and her heart was as calm as still water. In the future, her life would be filled with daily necessities. However, she didn't expect that the moment Chin-Chu returned, her maiden heart would be ignited. They spent every day together. No matter how much she crossed the line or what she did wrong, Chin-Chu never once spoke loudly to her. With a husband like this, what else could she ask for in her life? Huamin felt that she was lucky to have met Chin-Chu. She could die without regrets. The moment she got off Chin-Chu's back, Huamin held his face in her hands and gently kissed the tip of his nose. She said, Hubby, at this moment, you're the most handsome man in the world. Chin-Chu's eyes suddenly turned into endless gentleness. One sentence from Huamin could make him happy all night. This was magic. Chin-Chu didn't have time to take a shower. He picked up Huamin and pressed her down onto the soft carpet. Then, he kissed her passionately on the lips. His right hand wandered from top to bottom. His movements were a little impatient. Huamin closed her eyes. Other than nervousness, she also felt happy. she really wanted to give herself to Qin Chu at the right time. She didn't do it on purpose. Everything happened so naturally. His big hand slid under her collar and instantly unhooked her bra. God knows how long Qin Chu had been waiting for this moment. Chapter 278. Just then, Huamin's phone began to ring. Qin Chu stopped what he was doing. Someone's calling, Huamin said awkwardly. Qin Chu sighed slightly. Then, he got up and handed Huamin his phone from the coffee table. It was Jing Jixin. Sis, are you home yet? Yeah, what's up? Nothing, I just wanted to tell you not to worry, I won't tell Mom about this. Even if you didn't tell me, I already guessed it. After you broke up with Ziyuan, he called me twice. I also felt that it might have something to do with Qin Chu. Plus, brother Qin Chu gave me a car last time, so I was even more convinced. I'm sorry, Jixin, I didn't mean to hide it from you. I know, sis, it's okay. I'm not blaming you, I just don't want you to feel burdened. I'm different from Mom, I support you in pursuing your own happiness. As your biological brother, I will always support your decisions unconditionally, as long as you're happy. Thank you, Jixin. There's no need to thank me, I should be the one thanking you. Thank you for taking care of this family and taking care of me and Mom all these years. Jixin, that female classmate of yours, she's not my girlfriend, sis. She does have feelings for me, but I won't like her. She only approached me after I got a sports car. I know what she wants. It's good that you're rational. Plus, you're still young, and it's not easy for you to fall in love. You'll also have to worry about finding a job in the future. Things aren't that simple. I understand, sis. That's good, go to bed early. Yeah, thank Qin Chu for me. It's really great. After saying this, Jing Jixin hung up. Huamin looked at Qin Chu, embarrassed. Jixin told me to thank you for the car. So this is how he pays me back. He called me at such a critical time. He must have found the time, right? Qin Chu really wanted to tell Jing Jixin, that brat, to drive his car back. He was such an ingrate for ruining Qin Chu's plans. Cough cough. Huamin coughed dryly. In the end, Jing Jixin messed up everything that was supposed to happen so naturally. Qin Chu went upstairs to take a shower. After he came out, he received a call from his father, who began to talk about the company's recent new project. Huamin waited for a long time, but when he didn't come back, he fell asleep. The next day at work, as soon as she arrived at the hospital, she was called to the conference room for a meeting. He thought it was just a normal staff meeting, but he found that there were a lot of people present today. And they were all big shots. The one sitting in the middle was actually President Wu. Huamin, you're here. Have a seat, President Wu greeted Huamin. This made the head nurses from the other departments very envious. How's work recently? Pretty good. Thank you, President Wu, for your concern. Xiao Xue is recovering well. On behalf of my family, I would like to thank you again. No, it's really nothing. President Wu, if it were anyone else, I would do the same. President Wu thanked him in front of so many people, making Huamin feel very uncomfortable. He was never someone who liked to be in the limelight. Everyone, don't be so reserved. The theme of this meeting is to update and reform. If you have any good ideas, feel free to raise them. Nowadays, innovation is encouraged. If we can't keep up with the times, we will be eliminated sooner or later. Okay, let's begin. Everyone, feel free to speak, President Wu's assistant said into the microphone, and the meeting officially began. President Wu, I have a suggestion. Okay, go ahead. President Wu was very happy that Huamin took the initiative to speak. Can you ask the hospital's medical staff to change my uniform? The skirt is really too short. After Huamin finished speaking, everyone looked at him strangely. President Wu was also slightly surprised. Chapter 279. Ahem. Huamin's suggestion is not bad. The uniform style has been around for a few years and is about to be phased out. After a while, it's inevitable that people will get tired of it. This is a good idea, the department director flattered. In reality, most people at Southside were well informed. There were no secrets to speak of. Everyone more or less knew that President Wu valued Huamin. They also knew that Huamin had saved President Wu's niece's life in the middle of the night. Therefore, the department director immediately agreed with Huamin's first suggestion. Song Lin also nodded. President Wu, Huamin is right. After all, this is a hospital. It's better for the uniform to be more dignified. Note this down. I'll immediately rectify it when I get back, President Wu said to his assistant beside him. The male assistant immediately took out a small notebook and wrote it down. Does anyone else have any other opinions? President Wu looked around. In reality, this kind of meeting was held every quarter. Everyone was used to it, so no one was willing to raise an opinion. If they did, they would be scolded for being in the limelight. If they didn't, they would be scolded for not being realistic. After a minute of silence, Huamin looked left and right. He felt that no one was willing to say anything, so he raised his hand again. Huamin, please continue, President Wu called out. President Wu, I think that Southside needs to be completely rectified. The atmosphere is too bad. I don't know if you've heard the rumors about Southside, but a lot of them are unpleasant to hear. The truth is, Southside really wants to be the best recuperation area. We want to prioritize the recovery of our patients, and not mess around. The hospital's medical team is still lacking. If something happens to a patient during recuperation, we won't be able to live with ourselves if we miss the best time to rescue them. Therefore, I hope that you can send more highly skilled medical experts to take charge. Also, the professional standards of the female nurses in this district need to be improved. I suggest that we implement regular training, regular examinations, and a system of rewards and punishments to motivate everyone. Finally, I hope that you, Director, can sweep away the unhealthy atmosphere in our southern district and return a healthy and green medical habitat to the people. That's all, thank you. After Huamin finished his long speech, everyone was dumbfounded. In the end, it was President Wu who led the applause. The applause was thunderous, and President Wu gave him a look of approval. Huamin was indeed a good seedling. He was right. Huamin said it very well. Everyone, don't be afraid to speak up. If you have something to say, say it. Director, I heard that head nurse Hua only graduated from a third-rate university in our city, and she didn't even study medicine. She's still young, so some of her words might just be theoretical. Reform can't happen overnight, so please think twice before you act. Sure enough, there was an opposing voice, one of the vice directors of Southside, Guiyumin. He was a veteran doctor who had been practicing medicine for 20 years, and was later promoted to vice director. It was said that he had an extremely bad reputation, and often slept with the pretty female nurses in the district. However, no one dared to offend him. He and Huamin had never crossed paths. Huamin wasn't a beauty, so he didn't like her. However, Huamin's colleague, Tingting, was one of his bedmates. Therefore, after Tingting complained about Huamin a few times, Guiyumin remembered it. When he saw Huamin shine today, he felt like she was stealing the limelight, so he was very unhappy. Huamin laughed, Vice Director, you're wrong. Education doesn't represent ability. You can't reject my suggestion just because I'm not educated. That's not fair. Fair is fairness to listen to the nonsense of a nurse who has no experience at all. Talking about reform. But isn't the purpose of today's meeting supposed to be for us to freely voice our opinions? Huamin retorted. Voicing your opinions is a rational way of looking at the problem, not a delusional attempt to break the original tradition. It was obvious that the vice director didn't want to reform South Side. Vice director, I've always been rational, and my analysis is very impressive. South Side does need to improve its professionalism and medical standards. Only then can we go further, Huamin calmly replied. So, what right do you have to lecture us old doctors who have been practicing medicine for many years? The vice director's face darkened. Chapter 280. Song Lin couldn't stand it anymore. She stood up and said, Deputy Director, I recommended Huamin for promotion. I also think highly of her. I know her well. She saved a pregnant woman in the first hospital and performed an emergency C-section. A few days ago, she also saved President Wu's niece, Dr. Wu Xiaoxue. Isn't that enough? That's stupid. Individualistic. She's just trying to be in the limelight. She almost ruined our hospital's century-old reputation. Huamin smiled elegantly. She stood up and nodded politely to the doctors and leaders sitting around her. Then she asked with a smile, I heard that Deputy Director Guo used to be an expert in neurology. Is that true? Yes, so. The Deputy Director glanced at Huamin arrogantly and replied. Very good. Then, as an expert in neurology, you should know how to deal with the routine care of neurology patients in the later stages, right? Do you still need to ask such a simple question? But the database I got from Southside shows that we receive a large number of neurology patients every year, but very few of them recover. Why is that? As everyone knows, neurology patients are very difficult to cure. Even hospitals can't cure them. As a sanatorium, how can we cure them? Are you kidding me? I'm not kidding. I'm serious. Although neurology patients are very difficult to cure, clinical trials in the United States show that if the later stages of treatment are properly taken care of, the patients will feel better. In other words, the follow-up recuperation is more important than the early stage treatment. However, as an expert in this area, you don't pay attention to this point, which leads to the loss of many neurology patients every year. I'm not an expert in neurology, and I don't have a professional education, but I've read a lot of books and often observed patients' conditions when I was in school. When I was in the first hospital, I saw a lot of similar clinical cases, so I've done some research. Okay, I'd like to see how an ignorant nurse like you would analyze our department of neurology. In the deputy director's opinion, Huamin's approach was ridiculous. It was nothing more than asking for humiliation. It was difficult for a non-professional doctor to answer professional questions. Huamin picked up the glass and took a sip of water. He then looked around and said, What I'm about to say is my personal opinion. If I've said something wrong, please forgive me. President Wu gave him an encouraging look and nodded at Huamin. She nodded in response and said, The nervous system consists of the central nervous system formed by the brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system formed by the cranial nerves and spinal nerves. The symptoms and signs of neurology were consciousness disorder, speech disorder, sensory disorder, movement disorder, speech disorder, seizures, amnesia syndrome, brain hernia, and so on. As for the follow-up recuperation of these patients, the general nursing care must meet a few standards. First, the ward must be kept quiet, clean, and ventilated. For the more serious patients, visits must be reduced. Second, rest and lying position. Chronic patients are encouraged to get out of bed and move around, but to avoid fatigue, consciousness disorder, and excessive respiratory secretions, the semi-recumbent or lateral position is mandatory. Third, nutrition and diet. For these patients, they must eat more fresh vegetables and fruits to facilitate the unobstructed bowel movement. For those with complex dysphagia, a viscous, semi-liquid diet should be adopted. They must be careful when eating and slow down to avoid choking and suffocation. For those with severe dysphagia, nasal feeding should be given. After eating, they must maintain a semi-recumbent position for 30 to 60 minutes before returning to their original position. In addition to these, there are also daily care, skin care, drainage care, pharmacotherapy care, and observation of the patient's condition. For individual patients, post-cerebrovascular intervention care is required. After discharge, a discharge guidance is required to guide the patient to come back for regular checkups. Some patients must also be cautiously warned about the precautions after recuperation, such as forbidding asexuality and lumbar puncture for patients with high intracranial blood pressure to avoid inducing brain hernia. Due to time constraints, I won't introduce you one by one, but I believe that all of you understand. Overall, I feel that the recuperation area has a great responsibility and obligation for the patient's subsequent recuperation. I hope that all of you will take this seriously. Thank you, everyone. Huamin did not repeat a single word, nor did she make a single mistake. She did not speak quickly, but her voice was clear and melodious. When she finished speaking, the older professional doctors were all dumbfounded. Deputy Director Guo's expression changed again and again. Huamin's words did not sound like something a junior head nurse would say. She was clearly a doctor in neurology. Deputy Director Guo, what do you think of Huamin's words? President Wu asked Guo Yumin in a serious tone. Chapter 281. That's very good. Although Deputy Director Guo didn't want to admit this cruel truth, he couldn't lie in front of so many experts. Thank you, Deputy Director. Huamin smiled slightly. President Wu waved his hand. Huamin, take a seat. Huamin nodded and sat down. President Wu added a lot of things. An hour later, the meeting ended. As Huamin was about to leave, he was stopped by President Wu's assistant. Huamin, wait a second, the director is looking for you. Everyone in the meeting room left one after another. In the end, only Huamin and President Wu were left. Huamin, you did well today. No, I was just stating facts. Huamin was a little embarrassed. I will improve your suggestion as soon as possible. Actually, South Side should have changed a long time ago. It's just that every time we have a meeting, everyone is just trying to take advantage of the situation. No one wants to be the first one to step forward, so I don't have an excuse. Today, you made me feel a lot better. You're right about one thing, doctors should act like doctors. We can't mess up the atmosphere. Hey, director, don't listen to me. I'm just stating my opinion. It's just a woman's opinion, No, your words are very useful. I've learned a lot, but there's something I've always regretted. What is it? Huamin was a little confused. You're so talented, why don't you take the doctor's exam? You're still young. If you go all out, you'll definitely achieve something in the medical field. Last week, the Royal Hospital of England offered you an exchange spot. It's an in-depth discussion on ophthalmology. I really want you to go. What do you think? President Wu, I'm not familiar with ophthalmology. You don't have to hide it from me, I know everything. Before Xiao Xue and Ning Ziyuan got married, I had someone investigate him. You were the one who wrote all his papers on ophthalmology, right? Huamin felt a little embarrassed after being exposed. I'm sorry, President Wu. I shouldn't have helped him lie to you. No, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just that with your talent, it's a pity for you to stay in Southside and be a little head nurse. I still hope to train you. It doesn't matter if you don't work in our hospital after you finish your studies. Director Wu, thank you for your help, but I don't want to go to England. I think my current job is pretty good. It's fulfilling, busy, and enjoyable. Actually, a person's life doesn't have to be filled with fame and benefits to be successful. When I set a good position for myself and do my part well, I think that's the most meaningful life. For example, the sanitation workers are ordinary people who sweep the streets day after day, but because of their hard work, they bring a clean look to our city. We can't say that it's a pity for them, but we can only say that everyone has their own ambitions. As for me, I just want to be quiet and be by my family's side, doing a job that I like, and earning a salary until I retire. I don't have any big goals in life, and being ordinary is a blessing. I finally understand why Dr. Chin treats you so well. Anyways, you're a great girl. I believe you'll always be happy like this. President Wu didn't say it too directly, but with his intelligence, he must have guessed the relationship between Chin Chu and Huamin. Thank you for your blessings. After saying goodbye to President Wu, Huamin walked out of the conference room. She was in a good mood. She really hoped that Southside could be reformed. She wanted it to become a green rehabilitation center, not a yellow one. If she remembered correctly, this was the third time that President Wu said he wanted to send her abroad to study. For others, this might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but she casually rejected it. To be honest, for Huamin, being able to be by Chin Chu's side was her greatest happiness. She didn't want anything else. When she got home from work, Chin Chu had just come home and was preparing dinner. Huamin walked in and hugged Chin Chu's broad waist from behind. She acted like a spoiled child. Mr. Chin, thank you for your hard work. Are you hungry? Chin Chu turned around and gently cupped Huamin's face. Chapter 282. Emichim, I'm hungry. What's good tonight? Huamin stuck out her tongue. You'll find out soon, go wash your hands. Huamin then went upstairs to change into a light red set of pajamas, washed her hands, and went downstairs. Chin Chu had already brought out all the dishes. It was actually a seafood feast: spicy stir-fried sea cucumber, steamed crab, poached clams, steamed scallops with garlic and vermicelli, poached conch, and her favorite, steamed mantis shrimp. Did you go to the seafood market? No, I had the company buy it from a fisherman. It'll be fresher if we catch it on a boat. Honey, you know me so well. Huamin was almost drooling as she looked at the table full of seafood. Eat as much as you like, but first, drink some ginger soup to warm up your stomach. Then, Chin Chu handed her a bowl of brown sugar ginger water. Huamin felt warm inside when she saw Chin Chu's meticulous care. But you'll get gastroenteritis if you eat seafood. What are you eating? Huamin was a bit worried. I made noodles with shredded pork and pickled vegetables. But I'm eating seafood, and you're eating noodles. Won't it seem like I'm bullying you? We've been married for so long, but you've never been bullying me. Pfft. Mr. Chin, don't be so dirty, I'm being serious. I've always been serious, Chin Chu replied as he lowered his head and ate a mouthful of noodles. Okay, I knew you were teasing me. Honey, President Wu came to Southside for a meeting today, and he said he wants to send me to the Royal Hospital in the UK as an exchange doctor. What do you think? Huamin asked on purpose. After she spoke, she secretly glanced at Chin Chu to see his reaction. As expected, Chin Chu's hand, which was holding chopsticks, paused slightly. Then, he looked up at Huamin and said, "The Royal Hospital is one of the best in the world. If you have the opportunity to go, it'd be great. But I'll be gone for half a year. Will you miss me when I leave?" No, Chin Chu answered straightforwardly. Huamin was slightly disappointed. He lowered his head and ate the mantis shrimp silently. At this moment, Chin Chu added, I'll accompany you to England. We'll be together every day. What's there to think about? You're going to England too. What about GK? Huamin opened his eyes wide. That's my father's business. It has nothing to do with me. Hubby, you're so good. Huamin said sweetly. Then, she continued to smile. Actually, I'm just teasing you. I've already rejected President Wu. I don't want to go to England. My family is here and I don't want to leave. I'm already very satisfied with my current state of life. Mian, if you really want to go, I'll go with you. Chin Chu knew that studying medicine used to be Huamin's biggest dream. Huamin shook his head. I don't want to go. Everyone's dreams are different at every age. I might have wanted to study medicine before, but now I'm fine with what I have. Why would I want to change my current state of life? No matter what decision you make, I'll support you. If you're the emperor, you'll be a fatuous one, ah. Huamin laughed happily. If it's because of you, then what's wrong with being a fatuous emperor? Chin Chu didn't think much of it and said confidently. After a satisfying seafood meal, the two fell asleep in each other's arms. The next morning, Huamin went to work early. It was 8:45 a.m. when he saw Tingting arrive. I was stuck in traffic. Tingting didn't seem to realize the consequences of being late. If you're late for 5 minutes, you'll be fined 100 yuan. If you're late for 10 minutes, you'll be fined 200 yuan. You're late for 15 minutes, so you'll have to come to the finance department to pay a fine of 300 yuan before 11, Huamin said in a formal tone. What gives you the right to do that? Tingting was immediately enraged. She glared at Huamin. Chapter 283. Because I'm your boss. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you're a head nurse. You haven't even been here as long as I have. Let me tell you, if you dare to deduct my salary, I'm not done with you. Tingting, when head nurse Song Lin was here, you would call her in advance even if you were stuck in traffic, so she never complained about your tardiness. If you had told me in advance, I wouldn't be such an unreasonable person, but you didn't respect me. I'll say it again, if you respect me, I'll respect you. If you don't respect me, then I won't let you bully me. You don't have to pay the fine, but I'll ask the higher-ups to fire you. That's all. Huamin, you bitch. Wang Tingting was so angry that she kept cursing Huamin behind her. She always felt that Huamin was purposely picking on her and trying to make things difficult for her. The truth was, Huamin was just doing her job. Because Southside had already begun to reorganize, she had a private meeting with the other head nurses. They began to reorganize the nurses who were in charge of the bad practices. They would be fined for being late or leaving early, and they would also be given demerit points for their mistakes. President Wu quickly approved and decided to completely reorganize Southside. Huamin became the catalyst for this reorganization. Although her professionalism was commendable, she was hated by many people, and she was even isolated. During lunch, no one wanted to sit at the same table as her, and they all talked about her in private. However, Huamin was already used to it. She never cared about what others said. In the afternoon, Huamin went to room 2 to check on Uncle Lu and found that he had already packed up. Uncle, you were discharged this afternoon, right? That's right. In the blink of an eye, we've been here for more than 2 months. Time really flies. Uncle Lu smiled kindly. Your body is recovering well. You just need to strictly control your diet. You absolutely can't drink alcohol or eat sweets. I know. You're such a nag. I'm doing this for your own good. Ah, I know. Actually, I really like you. It's a pity that you didn't become my granddaughter-in-law. Uncle Lou sighed. Look, here we go again, huh? Huamin covered his mouth and laughed. I heard that you already have a boyfriend. I wonder which family's kid is so lucky. Anyway, you've taken good care of me during this period of time. Let's keep in touch in the future. If you're free, come to my house and play a game of chess with me. Alright, don't worry, sir. As long as you take good care of yourself and recover well, I'll go and visit you. I really can't bear to part with it. Why don't the two of us play around now? I'll ask the car to wait for me. Aw. I don't think that's a good idea. Huamin looked troubled. Just one plate, okay? Don't go easy on me this time. Let's do our best. Without waiting for Huamin to finish, Uncle Lou excitedly took out a Chinese chess set and started playing it like a child. Huamin was helpless. He didn't have the heart to refuse the old man's wish, so he could only play a game with him. In the end, Huamin won by a small margin. Uncle Lou gave him a thumbs up. You're so smart, kid. You're so cunning. You set up traps step by step and fooled an old man like me. All's fair in war. Huamin smiled. Let's go. Remember to visit me. In the end, Uncle Lou was escorted out of the hospital by his family. To be honest, Huamin was quite reluctant to see him go. Many new patients came to the orthopedics department one after another. However, since Huamin was already the head nurse, he didn't take care of the patients personally. In the afternoon, Wang Tingting suddenly came over and asked the nurses in the department, "Head nurse, I heard that you use your working hours to play chess with the patients in the afternoon. Isn't that a mistake? Shouldn't you pay the fine? Don't tell me that you have special privileges." Chapter 284. Huamin was writing at her desk when she heard Wang Tingting yelling. She didn't even raise her head as she pulled out a ticket. It showed that she had just paid a fine of 500 yuan. In other words, she went to the finance department to pay the fine after playing chess with the old man. Wang Tingting was furious when she saw the fine, but she couldn't say a word. To be honest, she had never seen someone as crazy as Huamin. She even paid the fine herself. Is there anything else? If there's nothing else, go back to work. If you have time, practice drawing blood and administering needles. If a patient complains in the future, you'll be fined. The nurses didn't dare to say anything else and immediately left the room. This Huamin is such a jerk. I'm confused. A woman like her has no looks, no figure, and her clothes are so old-fashioned. I really don't know why young Master Su would fall for her. Wang Tingting was envious, jealous, and hateful. But even so, I heard that the head nurse rejected young Master Su. Another new nurse chimed in. What do you mean rejected? That's hilarious. You're all too young. Let me tell you, the rejection was only on the surface. Who knows, she might have already climbed into young Master Su's bed. Don't think of her as such a noble person. The more decent a woman looks on the surface, the more slutty she is on the inside. I've seen plenty of women like her. After Wang Tingting said that, the other nurses began to chime in as well. However, Huamin didn't care what they said. Her principle was to be herself. After all, she couldn't expect everyone to love her. She wasn't money, after all. When Huamin was about to get off work, she saw Song Lin walk in. Director Song. Huamin stood up and smiled. Are you free later? Do you want to have a drink with me? Sure. Huamin didn't know how to reject Song Lin's invitation. So, when she got off work, she sent a WeChat message to Chin Chu. "Honey, I'm going out for dinner with my colleagues. I'll be back later." "You're not allowed to drink," Chin Chu replied with these words and then fell silent. "Understood, Lord Chin." After Hwa-min and Song Lin got off work, they drove to a Korean barbecue restaurant in the city center. The interior of the private room was decorated with tatami mats. It was elegant without losing its charm. When Song Lin changed out of her work attire, her side was also very sexy because of her large breasts. When Hwa-min was with her, he looked more like an airport runway, like a high school student. "Director Song, is there something on your mind?" "No, I just admire you and want to have a meal with you." Song Lin smiled. "Admire me?" Hwa-min was surprised. "I've heard a lot about you. I didn't expect you to reject the director's recommendation to go abroad. Do you know how many people want to go to England?" "Oh, that matter. That really doesn't suit me. Regarding the restructuring of South Side, a lot of people are angry, but they don't dare to speak up. No one dares to mention it, but you openly confronted the vice director at the conference. You're really something else. Just based on this, I'd like to propose a toast to you." Then, before Hwa-min could finish, Song Lin downed a glass of beer in one gulp. Hwa-min was a little embarrassed, so he had no choice but to drink as well. "It's nothing, I'm just speaking the truth. When I first came to South Side, I knew it had a bad reputation, but I still wanted to come. After I came, I realized that it had everything. The environment was good, and the facilities were good, but the atmosphere was terrible. It would be a shame if a top-notch rehabilitation center was ruined because of this. I only suggested it, President Wu accepted it." "Hwa-min, a lot of people are saying in private that you're President Wu's lover." Song Lin stared at Hwa-min and said word for word. Chapter 285. Pfft, which asshole said that? Tell me, I promise I won't beat her to death. Hwa-min thought, President Wu is such a righteous old man, why would he slander me? Other people might believe it, but I don't. Because, when I first came to South Side, I tried to seduce President Wu to get promoted. Not only did I fail, but I was almost fired. Wow, you're brave. I had no choice. My child was sick and needed money, so I was eager for quick success. Later, the hospital director understood the situation and gave me some funding on behalf of the hospital. He even contacted an authoritative specialist for me. I'm very grateful for all of this, and that's why I've been able to work at South Side until now. Song Lin choked up. Emichim, President Wu is a righteous man, but he's too strict. Many people are afraid of him. I know. That's why I'm so grateful to you for sticking your neck out and doing so much for South Side. It's good to be young, you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about your future or your family. You just have to do what you want to do. Hwa-min, can we be friends? I really like a girl like you. Director Song, don't say that. Just call me Lin Lin. Song Lin's eyes were filled with sincerity. When it came to paying the bill, Hwa-min couldn't argue with Song Lin, so she paid the bill. However, Hwa-min did become friends with her. When they returned to Imperial Park, it was already 10 o'clock. Chin Chu was still awake and was reading on his laptop in the living room. Honey, I'm back. Come here. Chin Chu gestured with his finger. Hwa-min walked over in a daze and was immediately pulled into Chin Chu's arms. Then, Chin Chu leaned over and sniffed. The smell of alcohol was strong, so his face darkened. You really turned a deaf ear to my words. Hwa-min immediately felt guilty, honey. Don't act cute, it's useless. Chin Chu closed his laptop and looked at her with a serious expression. Today, I'm really a person in Jiang who has no choice. In Jiang who? Qin Chu raised his eyebrows and asked. Yes, yes. Huamin nodded. What do you mean? Qin Chu stared at Huamin's little face and asked. My boss treated me to a meal. You said that he drank and asked me to drink casually. How could I not drink casually? Of course, I had to drink. He's the CFO. If I offend him, I won't be able to get my salary smoothly in the future. In order to support my family, I have to entertain others. Raise a family. My wife, you're so great. It's okay, it's okay. Hee hee. Huamin felt a little guilty. So, I can resign as GK's president tomorrow and rely on you to support me. That's why my monthly expenses aren't that big. My food and clothes only cost about 7 to 8 million. Honey. I'll have to trouble you in the future. Honey, don't be like this, let's talk nicely. Huamin wanted to cry but had no tears. Qin Chu's monthly expenses were at least 7 to 8 million. Even if she sold herself, it wouldn't be worth that much. I've been trying to talk nicely. What else can I do? What do you want to say? Qin Chu leaned over and pressed his lips against Huamin's. She didn't even dare to move. Honey, I was wrong. As expected, she was a good person who knew her mistakes and was willing to change. So, how should I punish you? Qin Chu looked at Huamin with amusement and asked in his devilish voice. I'll do whatever you say, Mr. Qin. You don't have to do that. You just have to fulfill your duties as a wife. Qin Chu was being very vague, but Huamin immediately understood what he meant. She truly felt that after she went to Southside, she was led astray by the nurses. Her thoughts were no longer pure. Chapter 286. Honey. I. Huamin said I 3 times in a row. Huamin, who was always eloquent, was terrified. So are you going to do the dishes, or should I? I don't think that's a good idea. Huamin lowered her head so low that it looked like blood was about to drip out. Can't you help me wash the dishes? Qin Chu looked disappointed. What? Wash the dishes. Huamin looked up, dumbfounded. What else do you think I'm going to do? Wash what? Qin Chu smiled proudly. Huamin immediately realized that she had been tricked. She immediately pounced on Qin Chu and hit him on the shoulder. Qin Chu, you did it on purpose. You did it on purpose. However, as soon as her hand touched Qin Chu, he grabbed her hand and pressed her down onto the sofa. After 3 minutes of lingering kissing, Huamin's entire body went limp and she almost lost all her strength. Qin Chu finally let go of her and smiled. Since you're so obedient, I'll forgive you. Mr. Qin, you're so cool. After speaking, Huamin stood up and walked towards the kitchen. Where are you going? To wash the dishes, to help you. Silly girl, I don't need you. How could I bear to do that? Qin Chu smiled. So you were just teasing me. I thought you really left the dishes for me. Is your IQ really 130? Did you bribe the person who did the test, huh? Qin Chu thought that Huamin's current reaction wasn't that of a genius, but rather a silly girl. I don't know what's wrong with me, but my genius function is automatically disabled in front of you. You might be a bug in my system, Huamin complained as she pouted. Haven't you heard of a saying? What? Huamin was stunned. What is love? Everything has its vanquisher. So I was subdued by you? Huamin asked unwillingly. No, I'm the one who was demoted. Chin Chu's answer was extremely straightforward. Huamin couldn't stop laughing. She wrapped her arms around Chin Chu's neck and the two of them started fooling around. In fact, she herself did not realize that she had unknowingly gotten used to the way Chin Chu interacted with her. As long as no one mentioned the unhappy past and the attitudes of both sides' parents, everything was fine. After going to bed, Chin Chu hugged Huamin, his heart full of happiness. Mian. When did your lousy hospital give me a long leave? I haven't asked yet. I don't even know how many months the annual leave is. I might go to Australia next month for an inspection. I want to take you with me. We've been married for so long, but we haven't taken you on our honeymoon yet. I'm so ashamed. Don't worry about it. Didn't they say that as long as there's love in the heart, anywhere is the Maldives? Huamin smiled and tightened her arms around Chin Chu. Chin Chu lowered his head and greedily inhaled her unique body scent. Then, like a child, he said softly, "If we have a child in the future, I hope she'll have my looks, my IQ, my abilities, and my personality." What about me? Huamin looked like she had been wronged. It's enough for her to have your zodiac sign, Virgo workaholic. Chin Chu, you piece of shit. Huamin couldn't help but curse because Chin Chu was too much of a bully. Why would their child have to be like him in everything but her blood type? What was the point of having a blood type? Her IQ should be like mine. Okay, I'm a genius with an IQ of 130. I don't see 130, but 30 is more like it. Chin Chu smiled. Huamin immediately pounced on him like a deer and bit him. The next morning, the two drove out together. Chin Chu separated from Huamin at the fork in the road, so he went to GK. When Huamian was 2 kilometers away from South Side, she was suddenly rear-ended by someone while waiting for a red light. With a bang, her car shook from the impact. This was the first time she had gotten into an accident like this ever since she started driving. The problem was that she was waiting for a red light, and the guy behind her kissed her. Huamin was so angry that she immediately got out of the car. Her heart ached as she looked behind her and saw that there was a deep dent in the car. "Oh, I hit you." The owner of the white Ferrari got out of the car and spoke. Huamin was about to go crazy. The owner of the car was none other than Suyu, whom she hadn't seen in days. Chapter 287. Suyu. Why did you hit my car? Do I have a grudge against you? Huamin was about to go crazy. God knew how much she cared about her beloved CC. "I didn't know it was your car, I was playing with my phone and accidentally hit it." Suyu looked nonchalant. "You're playing with your phone while driving, do you want to die? Even if you don't want to live, I do." Huamin was furious. Seeing how angry Huamin was, Suyu was actually in a good mood, because he finally had a legitimate reason to see her. He planned this for an entire day. He investigated Huamin's route to work, found the exact spot, and hit her. It was perfect. God knew how much he missed her. When he saw her, he felt his heart beat faster than usual. "Don't worry, it's not that serious. It's just a broken car, I'll compensate you with a new one." Suyu knew that Huamin didn't want a luxury car, so if he damaged her car, he would just compensate her with the same model. "It's okay, just pay for the repair fee, I'll get it fixed at a 4S store." "I'm sorry, it's not like I need that money. If you don't want this model, I can pay you with something else. You can pick any model, or you can have this Ferrari, how about that?" Suyu pointed at the white Ferrari behind his car and smiled. "It's okay, like I said, I only want the repair fee, hurry up and pay." Huamin impatiently reached out her hand. "Of course I'll pay, but we have to go through the process." The traffic police will be here soon, and they'll make a judgment. Then, they'll find the insurance company and go through the compensation process. That troublesome. Forget it, I'm in a hurry to get to work. Just leave the car here, call me when you fix it. Bye. Then, Hwa-min turned around to hail a taxi, however, Soo-yoon stopped her. Don't, you can't leave until it's done. You're the victim. But I'm in a hurry to get to work. You can take time off. I was hit by a car, and I still have to ask for leave. Soo-yoon, do you know how much of a jinx you are? Hwa-min was about to faint. Nothing good happened this morning. Forget about a jinx. He's ugly. If he's a superstar, I can reluctantly accept him. Don't talk nonsense with me. Get out of my way, I'm going to be late. Hwa-min was extremely anxious. Just then, the traffic police arrived and greeted Soo-yoon politely, young Master Soo. Good morning. Then, after looking at the scene, the judge said, as a rookie female driver, she actually took the overpass during the morning rush hour. She even crossed the line when waiting for the red light. Confiscate the car, take her away, and wait for further punishment. Hwa-min almost vomited blood when he heard this. How could the traffic police distort right and wrong? Even if it was to please Soo-yoon, there was no need to do this, right? And he even said that he had pressed the line. Was he blind? He was still a long way from the finish line. Moreover, which traffic law stated that a novice female driver could not get on the viaduct? It wasn't even a highway. After hearing the traffic police's judgment, Soo-yoon was very dissatisfied. With a cold expression, he said, "This girl's car was hit because I was playing with my phone and didn't focus on driving. I have to pay for it. She didn't cross the line, it's not her fault, it's my fault." Young Master Soo. The traffic police was a little confused. That's it, it's my fault. Hurry up and write. Soo-yoon was impatient. In the end, under Soo-yoon's instructions, the traffic police took the two of them back to the police station to record their statements. Hwa-min had no choice but to ask for leave from his superior, which delayed his work for a day. In the end, the traffic police determined that Soo-yoon was fully responsible for all the costs of repairing Hwa-min's car. Actually, it was just a small matter, but the traffic police refused to let Hwa-min leave. Her patience was completely worn down. She really wanted to yell at someone. If it wasn't for the fact that she didn't want to cause trouble for her husband, she really would have called Chin-chu and asked Chin-chu to pick her up. She believed that as soon as Chin-chu arrived, this group of traffic police would immediately become cowards. They were all snobs who looked down on people. After walking out of the police station, Soo was in a great mood. "It's rare for us to meet, why don't I treat you to dinner?" Hwa-min didn't say anything. He walked up to the white Ferrari, kicked it, and then turned around to leave. TSK, does your mother know that you're so fierce?" Soo was speechless. Chapter 288. Hwa-min ignored Soo, hailed a cab, and left. Soo, on the other hand, was in a great mood after spending an entire morning with Hwa-min. At the golf course, a few young masters were playing golf with their female companions, and only Soo was alone. "It's rare to see you alone. What's wrong? Have you been eating vegetarian lately?" Hwa Si-chin smiled. "Yeah, I've been eating meat for a while now, so I need to avoid certain foods." Soo smiled. "You're in a good mood. Can we resume our partnership? We can't reject money, right?" As they chatted, Hwa Si-chin brought up the cancellation of their partnership. Soo played with his phone and replied nonchalantly, "Let's talk about our partnership when you kick your brainless sister out of the game." Hwa Si-chin shrugged. "I knew it was Hwa Yin-yan's stupid idea. She must be dreaming of climbing into your bed." There are plenty of people who want to climb into my bed. Who does she think she is? Suyu sneered. What about my little sister Mion? Has she climbed into your bed yet? Hua Xiqian suddenly mentioned Huamin. Suyu finally looked at the situation seriously. He put down his phone and tossed it onto the coffee table beside him. Huamin, I'm determined to get her. Really? Congratulations in advance. Hua Xiqian raised his glass. Suyu didn't say anything, but the corners of his mouth curved up slightly. He remembered how Huamin kicked his car when he left this morning. It was so cute that his face turned red. How could a woman be so fun to play with? Although Huamin's kick cost him 150,000 yuan in repair fees, he still felt that he was worth it. However, he still felt like he had gained something out of this. At least he had gotten some alone time with Huamian this morning. No matter how you look at it, it's not a loss. At this moment, his phone rang. Suyu looked at it and saw that it was Xiao Qingya. He ignored it and took a sip of the mineral water. Oh, it seems that Miss Xiao is going to be laid off. She doesn't even like to answer the phone, Tang Chuan said with a smile. Suyu didn't say anything. I heard that your company recently promoted a newcomer called Mian Mian. Small waist and big breasts. Did you enjoy it? Tang Chuan continued to ask. If you want it, I'll give it to you. Really? And, really? Suyu had no impression of the cotton candy. He couldn't even remember what it looked like. Only his name was somewhat familiar because it was related to Huamin. Hua Xiqian chuckled and asked casually, you seem to be very interested in women with Mian in their names. If you can tell what I'm trying to do, it means that you're paying attention to it as well. Suyu looked at Hua Xiqian meaningfully. In the end, the two looked at each other and smiled, not saying anything else. This caused the other people at the side to be confused. Huamin asked for leave because of the car accident, so he was free again. She wanted to call Zhu Lingling to come out for dinner, but she found that her phone was off. She was probably on the plane. In the end, she walked around the mall and bought some clothes and food for the new season to give to her mother. Yang Meirong was in a good mood when she saw that Huamin was back. She even cooked a few dishes for her. Just like that, the mother and daughter chatted on and off. Xin hasn't been back lately. Huamin asked tentatively. No, but he calls me every day. He said that he's busy with his studies. Based on her mother's words, she didn't know that Xin had a car. Otherwise, she wouldn't be so calm. You're living outside, and the rent is pretty expensive. Why don't you move back here? You don't have to pay for anything, Yang Meirong said as she cross-stitched. Huamin's heart skipped a beat. Mom. South Side is too far away. The apartment I rented is closer, so it's easier for me to get to work. Okay, you can live however you want. Do you have enough money? If it's not enough, let me know. I've saved some money here for you and your brother in case of emergencies. It's okay, Mom. I have more money than I can spend. My salary is really high right now. After lunch, she walked out of the house and realized that it was only 2:00. When she passed by Starbucks, she suddenly had an idea. She bought afternoon tea and went to GK. When she arrived at GK, she took out her phone and sent a WeChat message, Mr. Qin, I'm downstairs. I bought you afternoon tea. Do you want to come down and get it? It's really good latte. 3 minutes later, Qin Chu showed up at the entrance of GK. You're not at work at this time, but you're here to buy me afternoon tea. Did you do something wrong? Chapter 289. Of course not, why would you think of me as such a bad person? Huamin pouted, looking wronged. Then tell me first, why didn't you go to work? Chu remembered that he left with her this morning. Shouldn't she be at Southside at this time? I'll tell you, don't get agitated. Speak. Then forgive me first. I don't even know what you did, how can I forgive you? If you don't forgive me, I won't tell you. I won't tell you, even if you beat me to death. Huamin thought that if she told him that she was hit, Chu would be very angry, because Chu always cared about her safety. Okay, I forgive you. Really? Huamin obviously didn't believe her. Really? You're a dog if you lie to me. Chu smiled helplessly and reached out to pinch Huamin's nose. If I were a dog, I'd be a German Shepherd, and you'd be a curly-haired poodle. Go away, you're the curly-haired poodle. Huamin wasn't happy to hear that. Mian, what's wrong? I was hit by a car when I went to work this morning. Hit by a car. As expected, Mr. Chen's nerves immediately tensed up. Don't worry, I'm fine, it's just a rear-end collision. Upon hearing this, Chu let out a sigh of relief. I'm not injured, it's just that the car was a bit of a tragedy. The traffic police took care of it and paid for it in full, but I don't have a car to drive for the next few days. I'll drive one for you. Forget it, I'm scared that I'll be in the headlines the next day. Then I'll buy you a new one. No, I'm a nostalgic person, I like that CC. I'll drive it again when it's fixed. Then what are you going to do for the next few days? Chu slightly furrowed his brows. Easy, you can take the bus or a taxi. Chu didn't say anything, but he obviously felt that it was inappropriate. Afternoon tea. Here. Huamin handed over the food bag in his hand. Aren't you going up with me for a while? You're so busy, I don't think I should go. Huamin didn't want to go to GK, nor did he want to make a high-profile visit. It doesn't matter how busy you are, Chu said. He didn't wait for Huamin to finish speaking before he took her hand and led her inside. The secretaries in the secretary's office were all stunned when they took the president's private elevator to the top floor. The CEO actually held a woman's hand and walked into his office. Although they didn't see what the woman looked like, she seemed to be dressed quite ordinarily. This incident instantly spread throughout GK, and Jiang Lingyue felt uncomfortable after hearing the rumors. She took a pile of bills and went straight to the top floor, but was stopped by Assistant Yang at the door. What do you mean? I'm here to ask for your signature. It's a very important bill. I'm sorry, Director Jiang. The president is not receiving guests. Is there someone important in there? Jiang Lingyue asked, unwilling to give up. Assistant Yang nodded. Yes, it's someone very important to the president, so please leave, Director Jiang. Is that person the president's girlfriend? That. I can't tell you. This is the president's personal business, it's not something subordinates like us can ask. It was the first time Assistant Yang was so cold. Inside the president's office, Chu was on the phone, talking about work. Huamin opened the cake box, scooped up a small piece of tiramisu with a spoon, and fed it to Huamin's mouth. To his surprise, Chu obediently opened his mouth and ate it. Then, as he ate, he gave out orders and instructions. The atmosphere wasn't harmonious, but Huamin rarely saw him like this, so he thought it was quite fun. Huamin opened the milk tea and took a small sip. Suddenly, he was pressed against the glass window, his mouth was pried open, and all the milk tea in his mouth was taken away. Chu domineeringly took the first sip of milk tea from Huamin's mouth. After drinking it, he licked his lips in satisfaction. His expression was as mesmerizing as it could get. Mr. Chen, what are you doing? Huamin was both angry and amused. Chapter 290. If you feed me like this, I'll be very happy. Chin Chu hung up the phone and looked at Huamin in all seriousness. Immediately, Huamin's face flushed red. This is the company, isn't that a little inappropriate? This is my company, and you're my wife, what's wrong with that? Chin Chu asked back. Huamin was once again speechless. Fine, in front of Mr. Chin, she was always easily defeated. The two of them drank their afternoon tea until they were both sick and tired of each other. Huamin's lips were already a little swollen from the kisses, and Chin Chu was finally willing to let go of him. When Huamin walked out of the office, he lowered his head and walked very quickly, afraid that someone would notice. Unexpectedly, he bumped into someone at the elevator. I'm sorry, Huamin immediately apologized. It's okay. Jiang Linyue smiled elegantly. She waited for almost 40 minutes just to catch a glimpse of the important guest in the president's office. However, when she got a good look at Huamin, she was a little disappointed. He didn't have a devastatingly beautiful face, nor did he have a hot identity. There was nothing special about him at all. Even his clothes were so ordinary. Other than his handsome face and youthful appearance, there was nothing special about him. Huamin was supposed to go to work, so when he left home, he only wore a white shirt and black casual pants. His black heels made him look very old-fashioned. In front of a beauty like Jiang Linyue, he really didn't look that outstanding. You're our president's friend? Jiang Linyue asked tentatively. Yes. Huamin nodded. I've never seen you before, is this your first time here? I think it's my second time. Huamin tried hard to remember. Are you our president's friend from the States? Jiang Linyue thought that ever since the president came back to China, he had been so busy that he probably didn't have time to make friends. Could he be a classmate from the States? No, we've known each other for a long time. Huamin answered honestly. Oh, I see. That's great. Our boss is a very nice person. He's a trustworthy friend. You seem to know your president very well. Huamin looked up at Jiang Linyue. She was not stupid. She could keenly feel that the woman in front of her was not simple. She would not ask so many useless questions for no reason. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jiang Linyue, and I'm the director of GK's luxury design department. I'm also the president's right-hand woman. If you've been paying attention to our company's jewelry, you should know that the most popular piece on the market right now was designed by me. Jiang Linyue introduced Huamin in such a prideful manner to give Huamin some pressure. However, what she didn't know was that it was Huamin who gave his opinion on the jewelry before Chin Chu adopted it. Therefore, her performance was no different from a clown in front of Huamin. Fortunately, Huamin would not expose her so directly. Really? You're pretty good. Huamin smiled. Thank you for the compliment. Just then, the elevator arrived, and Huamin walked in. Do you want to come in with me? Huamin invited her. Just as Jiang Linyue was about to go in, she suddenly thought of something and retreated. It's okay, I just remembered that I have something to do. Bye. Jiang Linyue smiled as she said goodbye to Huamin. This elevator was exclusively used by the president. If someone found out, they would be in deep trouble. However, this woman was able to use this elevator as she pleased. Could it be that she really had something to do with the president? Was she the woman Lady Qin said she saw in the president's car the other day? Jiang Linyue had a lot of questions that she wanted to ask, and at the same time, she felt a strong sense of danger. That night, when Chin Chu returned home, Huamin inadvertently thought of Jiang Linyue and asked, Honey, is that Jiang Linyue from your company interested in you? Why are you suddenly asking? Chin Chu looked at Huamin curiously. He knew that she wasn't a jealous person and wouldn't ask these questions for no reason. Chapter 291. Nothing, I was just asking. What she thinks is her business. What I think is my business. Obviously, to Qin Chu, Jiang Linyue was just a passerby among passersby. Yeah, she seems to care a lot about you. When I was leaving today, she purposely stopped me by the elevator and asked me a few questions. Qin Chu frowned slightly, showing his displeasure, but she didn't get anything out of me, so I didn't say anything. From now on, you don't have to pay attention to the people at the company. I know. Huamin nodded. The next morning, when Huamin woke up, she realized that she was going to be late. Why didn't you wake me up? You look like you were sleeping soundly. Bro, but I'm going to be late. Don't worry, I'll drive you. Qin Chu already planned to escort Huamin to the airport before her car came back. That way, he would feel more at ease. But I won't be able to eat breakfast. I already packed breakfast, you can eat it on the way. Honey, you're awesome. Huamin was extremely touched. She immediately got up and quickly washed up. Then, she got into Qin Chu's car with breakfast in her hands. Soy milk and fried dough sticks were perfect. Chinese breakfast had always been Huamin's favorite. However, the first thing Huamin did when she picked up a fried dough stick was not to take a bite, but to feed it to Qin Chu's mouth. Qin Chu took a bite, and then Huamin took a bite. The two of them happily took a bite, one after the other. With Qin Chu's escort, she arrived at Southside just in time. I'm here, be careful on the way. I'll pick you up when you get off work. Okay. Huamin smiled, then waved goodbye to Qin Chu. Huamin was originally in a good mood this morning, but when she walked in and saw someone, she couldn't smile anymore. Why are you here? Little sister Mian, can you say something else when you see me in the future? How much do you dislike me? Hua Xiqian was wearing a coffee-colored casual outfit with a faint smile on his face. Actually, Hua Xiqian was quite handsome. He had an elegant demeanor, and when he smiled, his eyes were like peach blossoms. Many women liked him. They all said that he was a gentleman and had good manners. It was said that he was very good at coaxing women. However, as soon as Huamin saw him, his face immediately darkened. It had been like this for so many years. He remembered that when he first met Hua Xiqian, Huamin was only 10 years old. He took a box of dove and placed it in her hand, but she threw it on the ground. She had never cared about the Hua family's charity, so she had always rejected Hua Xiqian's concern. I dislike you. Everyone on earth knows that. Do you still need to hide it? Huamin said coldly. I haven't been up to date with the news lately. You've been promoted for so long, but I only just heard about it. I'm sorry. Here, this is a promotion gift for you. I think it suits you. Then, Hua Xiqian handed over a brocade box. He opened it, and inside was a Cartier bracelet. It was the latest model and very beautiful. On the outside of the bracelet, there was an English word Mian. It was obviously a custom-made one. This bracelet wasn't cheap, thank you, but I don't need it. Isn't it normal for an older brother to give his younger sister a gift? Why do you have to reject it? I don't think I'm your younger sister. You're my older brother. Mian, I've never been hostile towards you. I'm different from Hua Xiqian and Hua Yanyan. Hua Xiqian, I can't help you. No matter what you do, it's useless. I won't go back and help you deal with Shinjiani and the others. Huamin thought that Hua Xiqian was being so attentive because he was useful to him. Hua Xiqian looked at Huamin meaningfully and asked, Do you think I'm doing this because you're useful to me? What else? Everyone says you're a genius, but I don't think so at all. Sometimes, you're so stupid. You're the stupid one. Your whole family is stupid. Doesn't my whole family include you? You're so stupid. Hua Xiqian was amused. He wasn't angry at Hua Min for rejecting his gift. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. I have work to do. Get out of my way. Your job today is to keep me company. Hua Min froze for a second. Hua Xiqian continued, I just donated 30 million yuan to Southside Recuperation Center on behalf of the Hua Corporation. That's why your vice director agreed to let you, the head nurse, walk around Southside with me. Hua Xiqian, you're crazy. Hua Min thought that Hua Xiqian was crazy for spending 30 million yuan just to walk around with her. What's wrong with being crazy once in a while? You don't have to take life so seriously. Mian, tell me, are you really happy with Qin Chu? Hua Xiqian opened the brocade box and played with the Cartier bracelet as he asked nonchalantly. Chapter 292. Of course. Really? But why do I feel like you and Qin Chu are together because you're hiding something? Do you think, if I announce that you two are together, it'll be fun? Especially your mother, TSK. Hua Xiqian, what on earth do you want? Hua Min didn't know how Hua Xiqian found out. Her relationship with Qin Chu had always been a secret. Qin Chu even used a lot of connections to cover their tracks. However, it was as if Hua Xiqian had superpowers and always knew that they were together. I don't want to do anything. What else can I do? If you want to say it, then say it. You don't have to threaten me, I won't fall for it. Hua Min hated being threatened the most. If worse came to worst, she would fight to the death. Why should she be held back by others? Look at you, I just teased you a little and you've already lost your cool. But I really like you this way. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. If you want to do an inspection, then go by yourself. I won't go with you. Either you go tell the director that I'm fired, or you disappear from my sight. After speaking, Hua Min turned around and left. She didn't want to waste any more time talking to Hua Xiqian. Hua Xiqian was in a good mood when he saw Hua Min. Even though the deputy director personally walked him around Southside in the end. However, it didn't affect his good mood towards Hua Min. Deputy Director Hua, please take good care of my sister from now on. President Hua, don't say that. Hua Min has always been the best employee at Southside. Everyone takes good care of her. After Gui Yumin learned about the relationship between Hua Xiqian and Hua Min, and seeing that the Hua Min Corporation was not only rich, he could not wait to praise Hua Min to the skies. He had read in the newspaper that Hua Min was the illegitimate daughter of the Hua family. However, at that time, Hua Min had personally made a statement that she had nothing to do with the Hua family. She had even said that she would never interact with the Hua family again. He had thought that Hua Min had nothing to fear, but he had not expected that Hua Xiqian would come knocking on his door. She had given him money and asked him to take care of Hua Min. It seemed that the relationship between the siblings was quite good. With Hua Xiqian's words, Gui Yumin no longer dared to oppose Hua Min. In other words, he no longer dared to oppose Hua Min. After Hua Xiqian left in his car that day, Gui Yumin went to Hua Min's office. Hua Mian, Vice Director. Hua Min stood up. Oh. I've been looking at the schedule recently. There are a lot of night shifts. As the head nurse, you don't have to work so hard. You can leave it to the young nurses. Take care of yourself. Thank you for your concern, Vice Director. Gui Yumin's sudden show of kindness scared Hua Min so much that she broke out in a cold sweat. She even thought that this guy was going to sleep with her. Then, she heard him say, President Hua is sponsoring Southside because of you. I hope you can put in a good word for me in front of President Hua when you have time. Vice Director, you've misunderstood. Hua Xiqian and I. Hua Min wanted to explain. However, Guillumin did not give her a chance. I know. You don't have to say anything more. Go back to work. After speaking, Guillumin turned and left. Huamin was dumbfounded. She muttered to herself, what do you know? GK headquarters. When Qin Chu was about to get off work, he received a call from his mother. She asked him to drive Jiang Linyue back to the mansion for dinner. Qin Chu hung up without saying anything. Just then, Jiang Linyue knocked on the door and walked in. President Qin. I just received a call from the chairman's wife. She asked us to go to dinner. Are you free? Jiang Linyue looked at Qin Chu shyly. Chapter 293. She asked you to go, so you should go. Upon hearing Qin Chu's words, Jiang Linyue immediately beamed with joy, her eyes filled with joy. Did this mean that the president agreed to take her home for dinner? Just then, Qin Chu said, why aren't you leaving yet? What are you waiting for? My car was sent for maintenance, and I haven't gotten it back yet, so I was thinking that you can call a cab. Qin Chu immediately cut off Jiang Linyue's words. Oh, okay, President Qin, I'll pack up and head over right away. Upon hearing Qin Chu's words, Jiang Linyue was slightly disappointed, but it didn't extinguish her enthusiasm for going to the Qin manor for dinner. If the president and Mrs. Qin approved of her, then it was only a matter of time before she married into the Qin manor. After Jiang Linyue left, Qin Chu also packed up and left. However, he didn't head home. Instead, he drove straight to South Side to pick up Huamin from work. Upon arriving, Qin Chu sent him a WeChat message, I'm at the entrance. 3 minutes later, Huamin jogged 500 meters away from the hospital before he found Qin Chu's car. Of course, she requested all of this. She didn't want her colleagues to see her being picked up by such a luxurious car every day. It would cause them to criticize her. You got off work early today. Huamin smiled. Yeah, what do you want to eat later? We can buy groceries and cook at home. What do you want to eat? Huamin was in a great mood. I asked Gao Ran out, and he said we can book the restaurant. You asked Gao Ran out. Should I ask Lingling to come? Huamin smiled mischievously. You better not. What? Do you think they're not compatible? There's no need to set them up. No, Gao Ran brought a date today. Really? Gao Ran is no longer single. Huamin was a bit surprised. I'm not sure about the details yet. We'll know when we meet later. Qin Chu didn't want to say much. He took Huamin around the city. In the end, Huamin said that he wanted to eat Sichuan cuisine, so he parked the car in front of a famous Sichuan restaurant. Qin Chu then called Gao Ran and told him the location. 15 minutes later, Gao Ran arrived. A girl in a yellow dress got out of the Jaguar. She looked to be around 23 or 24 years old. She had big eyes, fair skin, and long black hair. She was a standard beauty. To be honest, Huamin felt that her temperament was far inferior to Zhu Lingling's. She just looked a little soft and weak, the kind that would act coquettishly. Unlike her and Lingling, who were absolute tomboys, have you been waiting for a long time? Gao Ran walked in with his female companion and asked with a smile. Not that long, only 15 minutes. Qin Chu had always had a strong sense of time. Gao Ran chuckled, our President Qin's time is precious. 15 minutes is too much. It has to be my treat today. I wasn't planning on treating anyway. You're overthinking it. Huamin, can't you control your husband? He's not chatting properly. Gao Ran was angry. My husband is right. Didn't you say that you were going to treat us? Huamin said on purpose. You guys are really a family. Each one is more evil than the other. The four of them chatted and laughed as they sat down. The private room wasn't very big, but it was spacious enough. This is. Huamin glanced at Gao Ran's female companion and asked. This is my friend, Lin Xuejiao. Friend? Isn't she your girlfriend? Why are you being so reserved? Huamin gossiped. Chapter 294. Ahem. We haven't officially started dating yet, so we can only be considered friends. Gao Ran was a little embarrassed. The girl smiled shyly and introduced herself. Hello, I'm Lin Xuejiao. I work as a file manager in the 3rd Division. Oh, so you're in the same line of work. Huamin suddenly realized. With my boring job, I don't have the chance to interact with others. It's good enough that I found a colleague. A policewoman isn't bad either. Count yourself lucky. Huamin smiled. Qin Chu didn't like to talk, so he didn't interact with Gao Ran's female companion. He only chatted with Gao Ran. Lin Xuejiao took the initiative to come over and sit beside Huamin. She chatted casually. I heard that you're very good friends with Captain Gao. Yeah, we went to the same high school and have known each other for many years. That's great. Your husband is very handsome. You must be childhood sweethearts. I guess so. Huamin was a little embarrassed. I heard that Captain Gao's parents are also high-ranking officials. Do you go to his house often? The girl blinked her big innocent eyes and asked. Not often, and I'm not sure what his parents do. We just eat and drink together and don't talk about anything else. When Huamin replied, he had a rough idea of what was going on. So this girl was here to get information. How realistic was she? She immediately asked about Gao Ran's family situation. Did she really think that he was a silly deer who didn't keep his mouth shut? Oh, I see. I'm the only child at home. My parents spoil me a lot. They don't want me to find someone with bad conditions. They're afraid that I'll suffer. To be honest, Captain Gao is a good person and is quite handsome. It's just that the nature of his job is a little dangerous. That's why we haven't officially started dating. Huamin looked at her in disbelief. You're so young, but you see things so clearly. But isn't love about finding someone you like? Does it have anything to do with other factors? If you get together because of other factors, is it still pure love? Even if you like him, you still have to open your eyes and look at the conditions. What else can you do? Can love be bred? Lin Xuejiao blinked her big innocent eyes, but what she said was true. But no one is born rich. In China, the ratio of the rich to the poor is 2:8. We can't guarantee that every woman will marry a rich man, but we can guarantee that we will find a capable and responsible man. A good life is created by people. If one's character is not good, no matter how good the conditions are, they will fall. That's true, but even if you squander hundreds of millions, you'll still have at least 10 million. How long do you give a penniless person to reach 10 million? 10 years, 20 years. Or a lifetime. A woman's youth can only be kept fresh for a few years. Who can afford to wait? After hearing this girl's theory, Huamin was shocked. This girl was about the same age as him, but her inner thoughts were definitely the thoughts of a woman in her 30s or 40s. It was not wrong that her parents raised her to be so realistic, but at such a beautiful age, the age when she should have met a beautiful love, she was bound by materialism and reality. Needless to say, it was a kind of tragedy. Just then, the girl seemed to be thirsty. She picked up a bottle of Evian mineral water and pretended to twist it twice. Then, she frowned. It's so hard to open. I'm already twisting it hard, Lin Shuejiao complained coquettishly. Just then, Huamin said faintly, let me do it. Then, he took the bottle of mineral water from the girl, twisted it hard, and opened it. Gao Ran and Qin Chu looked over at the same time. Chapter 295. Qin Chu, your woman is too willful. She ignores the strength of men and directly unscrews the bottle cap. Isn't that normal? Qin Chu was already used to Huamin's tomboyish side. If one day he saw Huamin act coquettishly and say that she didn't know how to do this or that, that would be a real surprise. Gao Ran smiled and said, that's true. Everyone on the internet said that girls who can't unscrew the bottle cap are just pretending. She's much better than this when she's tearing a package apart with her bare hands. Huamin burst out laughing. Lin Shuejiao, on the other hand, was a little embarrassed as she added, my colleagues always open my packages for me. I really can't open them. Maybe it's because my body is a little weak and I don't have much strength. Huamin smiled and didn't say anything else. With Huamin's intelligence, he already knew this girl's character at a glance. Therefore, the rest of the conversation was just casual chatter and didn't touch on their feelings. Gao Ran and Qin Chu had a great conversation. During this time, Qin Chu kept putting food in Huamin's bowl. He was afraid that she would find it too spicy, so he even used a bowl of water to rinse the food before giving it to her. Gao Ran couldn't stand it anymore. Hey, I say, can you two go back and show off your love at home? There are still people here who can catch their breath. Which law in China forbids public displays of affection? Qin Chu proudly replied. Then take it easy, almighty Qin. This is a public place, you have to be considerate of other people's feelings. As long as I'm comfortable, why do I have to be considerate of other people's feelings? Gao Ran. Huamin then added, plus, we're legally married. Gao Ran. Well, I'll make an announcement. Next time, I'll treat you to a meal alone. You two can come one by one. Don't appear together, or I'll die young. That's absolutely impossible. Either the two of us will appear together, or neither of us will come. Qin Chu had already made it clear. Fuck, do you think the two of you are a pair of lovebirds, big brother? You're wrong. Let me correct you. Mandarin ducks are actually very unfaithful animals. They change partners every year. The poems are all wrong and unscientific. As a police officer, you still need to read more books. Huamin warned him seriously. Qin Chu. Can't you control Huamin a little? If she talks like this, she won't have any friends. My wife only needs me. She doesn't need any other friends. Gao Ran was speechless. When Gao Ran and Qin Chu were together, they were always very funny. In the past, when Zhu Lingling came, she could occasionally help him deal with Huamin and Qin Chu. However, the girl that came today only listened to their funny conversation quietly and didn't want to interrupt. This girl thought that she was a lady and wouldn't talk without caring about her image. Lin Shuejiao, can you help me? Gao Ran was speechless. President Qin and Lady Qin are very funny. It's good. Lin Shuejiao smiled shyly. You don't have to be so formal. They've been my friends for many years. Just be casual. Gao Ran also felt awkward when he saw Lin Shuejiao's state. He felt that the atmosphere was not as good as when that evil woman, Zhu Lingling, was here. After the four of them finished eating, it was still early. Gao Ran suggested that they go to karaoke. Qin Chu looked at Huamin. He didn't mind, as long as Huamin was happy. Huamin knew that Qin Chu didn't have many friends. Gao Ran was one of the best, so naturally, he couldn't bear to refuse. Then, the four of them went to a luxurious karaoke in the city. After they booked a private room, Qin Chu and Gao Ran ordered drinks. Lin Xuejiao volunteered to sing the first song. It was Tsing Yikes Leo. Her voice was soft and coy. Moreover, she was off-key. Huamin couldn't stay calm anymore. She got up and said that she wanted to get some fresh air. However, she didn't expect to see Su Yu at the door. Su Yu happened to be walking out with a group of friends. He glanced over and saw Huamin. He couldn't move. Chapter 296. Huamin immediately turned her head and pretended not to see Su Yu. Then, she picked up a bag of peanuts from the cabinet, opened it, and began to eat. Su Yu moved closer to her. I didn't think you'd come to karaoke. What a magical feeling. Come on, what's wrong with me? Am I not human? If you can come, why can't I? So, you're also a nurse with a colorful nightlife, Su Yu teased her on purpose. Don't talk nonsense. Did you fix my car? Car? What car? Su Yu pretended to ask. Su Yu, screw you. Huamin's heart ached for her beloved car. It had been 2 or 3 days since she gave it to Qin Chu. She didn't want Mr. Qin to work so hard, so she wanted to get it back as soon as possible. However, this guy pretended not to know. There's no need to fix that crappy car of yours. You might as well buy a new one. Whatever, it's tiring to talk to you. I'll live a few more years and ignore you. Cherish your life and stay away from Su Yu. After speaking, Huamin proudly turned her head and walked away with a bag of peanuts. Miss, you haven't paid yet. The waiter behind the counter yelled excitedly. Find that guy. Huamin pointed at Su Yu. Sure enough, Su Yu took out a few hundred yuan, threw it on the counter, and left. That girl is the one you're obsessed with? Wei Liao asked with a smile in the black Range Rover. No, how is that possible? Su Yu refused to admit it. Wei Liao didn't say anything else. After a while, Wei Liao suddenly muttered to himself, cherish your life and stay away from Su Yu. Fuck. Su Yu couldn't stay calm anymore. Did Wei Liao hear everything? Also, why did Huamin have to come up with such a heaven-shaking, earth-shattering golden sentence? What did it mean to cherish one's life and stay away from Su Yu? What's wrong with the great Lord Su? When Huamin returned to the private room from upstairs, Lin Xuejiao had finished her song and was now singing another one. This is a recently popular Shuejiqian's actor. Moreover, he was singing to Gao Ran. However, Gao Ran didn't seem to be listening carefully. Instead, he was chatting with Qin Chu. Huamin was extremely bored. He sat on the sofa and ate some snacks. Occasionally, he would clap for Lin Xuejiao. At this moment, Qin Chu suddenly came to the left and put his arm around Huamin's shoulder. Sing a song for me. You know that I'm tone deaf. It's okay. I don't dislike you. But I dislike myself. Huamin rarely sang. She always felt that it would be awkward if he ran away or forgot the lyrics. Huamin, just sing a song. Even if it's about counting ducks, we won't laugh at you. You really think highly of me. I can't sing a difficult song like counting ducks. Huamin chuckled. Sister Hua, just sing a song. Lin Xuejiao put her arm around Gao Ran's shoulder and started to cheer him on. Why don't you two sing a couple song? How about Red Dust Love Song? Gao Ran suggested. Country songs like this are perfect for you. Qin Chu glanced at Gao Ran and said. Ha ha ha. Huamin couldn't stop laughing. The tune of the song was quite nice, but the heavy metal taste of agriculture was a little heavy. Huamin, why don't you sing Husband Makes Money, Wife Spends? Gao Ran continued to tease him. Lin Xuejiao covered her mouth and giggled as well. Huamin felt that if she didn't come up with something amazing, she wouldn't be able to control the situation. Therefore, she stood up, picked up her Nike, and said, "Next, let's have my husband, Mr. Qin, sing 'Silence is Gold.' Let's give him a round of applause." Gao Ran and Lin Xuejiao immediately began to clap. Qin Chu watched as his wife sold him off with a happy expression on her face. "You sure know how to arrange things." Qin Chu raised his head and stared at Huamin. Huamin immediately said coquettishly, "Mr. Qin, just sing a song. Otherwise, Gao Ran will laugh at us until dawn." Qin Chu was a great singer. Back in school, he sang "Silence is Gold" during a New Year's Eve party. He even sang it in perfect Cantonese. At the time, it shocked the entire school and made all the girls crazy about him. After so many years, would he still be able to get back that feeling? "Honey, you're the best, just sing a song." Huamin looked at Qin Chu eagerly and began her ultimate move. Chapter 297. As expected, no matter how arrogant Qin Chu was, he couldn't win against Huamin's coquettish gaze. He had completely melted away. In the end, with Qin Chu's tacit approval, Huamin eagerly handed the microphone to Qin Chu. Gao Ran chose the song, and the familiar melody started playing again. "Silence is Golden" was Qin Chu and Huamin's favorite Cantonese song in high school. Not only was Zhang Guorong good at singing, but the lyrics were also very well written. Qin Chu's low and raspy voice was melodious. "Fate has determined whether you're rich or poor. What's wrong is never right. What's true is always true. No matter what you say, I'll play my part. I'll always believe that silence is golden. There's justice in right and wrong. I'll be careful not to offend others. When faced with a cold storm, I'll be too serious. When my heart is filled with confidence, I'll ignore sarcasm and questions. I'll laugh and scold others. I'll be a free and easy person." When Huamin heard Qin Chu sing this song again, she couldn't help but feel a lump in her throat. Back then, it was because she loved this song so much that Qin Chu, who didn't like to be in the limelight, sang it in front of the entire school at the New Year's Eve dinner. That night, they held hands as they climbed Yuya Mountain and stared at the stars for an entire night. Unknowingly, they had already spent so many years together. After Qin Chu finished singing, Gao Ran put the cigarette in his mouth between his fingers and clapped. "Bro, you sang well. You're just as good as back then." Lin Xuejiao also looked at Qin Chu with admiration and shyly said, "Qin Chu, you're so good. President Qin, you sang so well. Huamin, your husband performed so well. Shouldn't you do something tonight?" Gao Ran joked. Huamin rested her head on Qin Chu's chest and tightly hugged his waist. She instantly turned into a fan. "Mr. Qin, you sang so well. I'll give you 32 likes. I don't want any compliments. Why don't you just give me a kiss?" There are still people around. This isn't good. You can make up for it when you get home." Huamin, listening to their implicit conversation, Gao Ran sighed with emotion. "It seems that my suggestion to sing tonight was right. Maybe I'll become the guanyin who gives gifts. Qin Chu, if you have a baby, you must let me be the godfather. With such a dirty godfather like you, how can I still be pure?" Huamin immediately retorted. Generally speaking, the four of them had a good time, except for Lin Xuejiao, who was a little reserved. When the four of them walked out of the KTV, it was almost 11 o'clock. Huamin and Qin Chu drove back to Imperial Park. On the way, Huamin gossiped, "Honey, do you think Gao Ran will succeed tonight? You should ask that woman if she can succeed." After all, she took the initiative to approach Gao Ran. Gao Ran is indeed outstanding in the police force. He's handsome and he's the captain, Hua Min sighed. That's not important. What's important is that Gao Ran's father is the deputy director. You can even see through that. Lord Qin, you've got sharp eyes. Hua Min admired Qin Chu's ability to read people. Although he didn't interact with that woman at all, he could tell that she was a realistic person. She also had a motive for approaching Gao Ran. If that's the case, then it's hard to say. Hua Min felt that the possibility of Gao Ran and that woman being together was very low. Hua Min and Qin Chu were right. Lin Xuejiao pretended to be drunk and leaned on Gao Ran's lap in the car, thinking that they could spend the night together. However, Gao Ran drove all the way to her apartment. He woke her up, walked her upstairs, and drove her home. Most of his time with Lin Xuejiao was just an experiment. After all, he didn't have a woman at his age, and it wouldn't be good for others to gossip about him. However, after spending the night together, he realized that he couldn't find any feelings for her. He didn't like soft girls like her at all. As soon as Qin Chu and Hua Min arrived home, Qin Chu's phone began to ring. After taking the call, Qin Chu glanced at his phone. You sleep first, I have to go back to the mansion for a bit. My mom's sick. Okay. Hua Min nodded. When Qin Chu drove all the way to the Qin Manor, he realized that Jiang Linyue was still there. President Qin, you're back. Where's my mom? Qin Chu frowned without even looking at Jiang Linyue. Chapter 298. Old Madam is in her room. She doesn't seem to be feeling well. Qin Chu ignored Jiang Linyue and headed upstairs to his mother's bedroom. As soon as he entered, he saw his mother leaning against the chaise lounge with a blanket covering half of her body. She didn't look too well either. Mom, where are you feeling unwell? I'm not feeling well, Lady Qin said coldly as she pointed at her chest. Qin Chu immediately knew that his mother was upset, so he pulled up a chair and sat down across from her. Mom, why did you call me back in the middle of the night? You're my son, I miss you. Can't I see you? That's not what I meant. I just think that you don't have to pretend to be sick like a child. I'm not pretending to be sick, I'm just worried. You promised to come back for dinner today. Why did you stand me up? Why did you make Linyue wait for you all night? As the CEO of GK, shouldn't you keep your word? Mom, you seem to have misunderstood something. I didn't promise you that I would come back for dinner. What did you say when I called you? I said that I got it, but I didn't say that I would come back. Chu, stop playing word games with me. I just want to ask you one question today. When are you going to announce your relationship? Announce whose relationship? With Linyue, of course. She's a great girl, and I discussed it with your dad. She's a good match for you. Mom, my relationship is my own business, and so is my marriage. You and Dad don't need to get involved. What are you talking about? You're our son, of course we care about you. Lady Qin raised her voice. But there's a limit to how much you care about me. Don't worry about me for no reason. Then what do you mean? Mrs. Qin pulled the blanket over herself and sat up in a whoosh. Mom, don't get involved in my business. I don't even like Jiang Linyue. Don't drag her into this. Then who do you like? That girl from the Hua family. Lady Qin was furious. So what if I do? Qin Chu didn't deny it. Chu, are you crazy? Don't forget that it is impossible between the two of you. Back then. Speaking of the past, I haven't asked you why you did that to her. If you weren't my biological parents, do you think you could still sit in front of me? What else? Are you going to kill us for her? Lady Chin's face was pale as she looked at her indifferent son. Mom. I'm your only son, and I only have you two as my parents. Don't do anything that will hurt our relationship. There are many things that can't be undone once you've done something wrong. You're old now, so you should enjoy your old age. As for the rest, leave it to me. After speaking, Chin Chu got up to leave. Chu, stop right there. If you still dare to have feelings for that wretched girl from the Huo family, don't blame me for not acknowledging you as my son. What does it matter if you have me as your son or not? Chin Chu sneered and turned to go downstairs. Lady Chin burst into tears. Jiang Linyue heard the noise and immediately ran into the room to comfort her. Madam, what's wrong? Get out, all of you, get out. I don't want to see anyone. Lady Chin felt terrible and finally exploded. When she found out that her son still couldn't forget that woman, Huo Min, she almost broke down. There were so many women in the world, but why did her son like Huo Min? That little vixen seduced a man into bed at the age of 17 and almost prevented her son from leaving the country. What was so good about her? Moreover, she heard that her mother was one of Huo Min's mistresses, and Huo Min was just an illegitimate daughter. Her son, on the other hand, was blessed by the heavens. Why? Why was her son still obsessed with her after 7 years? Chin Chu was about to go downstairs when his father suddenly called out to him. Chin Chu. Dad, what's up? Let's talk, Chin Yumin said in a meaningful tone. Chapter 299. Okay. Although it was late and he was worried about Huo Min, it was rare for his father to talk to him. He wanted to take the opportunity to make things clear so that they wouldn't cause trouble for him in the future. Then, the father and son went to a small pavilion next to a fish pond in front of the villa. Chin Chu's father liked this design very much. It was said that the stone and wood were transported from Wushan and were very expensive. Even the coffee table was made of Hainan pear wood. Chin Chu sat on the side and looked at his father. He took out his phone and sent a WeChat message to Huo Min. I might be back later. You should go to bed early. Okay. Huo Min replied immediately. Chu, how's the company? Chin Yumin had completely delegated his power, so he rarely participated in the company's affairs. It's the same. You've been back for a while now. How are you adapting? Very well. Do you still want to go abroad? Dad, what do you mean? Just say it. Let's not waste time. Hearing his father mention going abroad again, Chin Chu was slightly displeased. What if I say that I want to shift the company's focus to Canada and our whole family emigrate? What do you think? Why do you suddenly have this idea? Chin Chu stared at his father. It's getting harder and harder to do business in the domestic market, and we can't limit ourselves to the domestic market. In addition, your uncles are very powerful in Canada. They asked me to go there several times. I'm old, and the company's benefits are not so important. I really want to drink tea and play basketball with your uncles when I'm free. Then you can go there now. There's no need to emigrate. You don't want to go? No. Even if I go there, I'll bring Huo Min with me. You don't have to test me on this. Chu, Dad, does the bet we made back then still count? So what? So what if I don't? Chin Yumin couldn't tell what his son was thinking, so he didn't dare to say anything directly. It's simple. If it counts, I will be extremely grateful for your help and will do my best to take care of the business you left me. If it doesn't, then I will immediately resign from GK, leave the Chin family, and start a new life with Huo Min. Are you threatening me? Chin Yumin was a little angry. No, it was never a threat. I was just telling the truth. Do you have to do this for a woman? Are you trying to make things difficult for your mother and me? It's you guys who have been making things difficult for me, Chin Chu corrected. Let me ask you, will you not change your mind no matter what? Yes. Even if she has a conflict with you in the future and causes you to break up in the end, you won't regret your decision today. Chin Yumin felt like it was necessary to give his son a heads up. After all, his son was still young and might think too highly of love. Dad, let me correct you again. We will never break up in this lifetime, no matter what the reason is. Chin Chu's words were firm, and Chin Yumin couldn't persuade him anymore. Seeing that his son was determined, Chin Yumin finally sighed. Okay, I hope you made the right decision today. I hope that girl doesn't disappoint your stubbornness. As Chin Chu left the mansion, he was thinking about something. Was he stubborn? Many people had said that, but all these years, the only person he was stubborn about was Huamin. That was it. There was nothing wrong with liking someone, and there was nothing wrong with continuing to like someone. When he returned to Imperial Park, Huamin was already asleep. Chin Chu lit a cigarette and sat on the windowsill. He quietly admired Huamin's face. It was as if he was looking at a rare treasure. No one, no matter who it was, could take Huamin away from him. No one. He would rather break his parents' hearts than miss another 7 years with Huamin. He was really afraid of losing her again. It wasn't easy for him to find the girl he loved. Mian, my Mian, Chin Chu whispered Huamin's name under the enchanting night sky. Unfortunately, she didn't hear him. She was still deep in her own sweet dreams. The next morning, Chin Chu drove Huamin to work. When they arrived at Southside, she immediately saw her beloved car parked there. It seemed like it was fixed. She happily walked over and opened the car door. She saw a bouquet of lilies on the driver's seat. There was also a card beside it. She picked up the card and looked at it. Her expression changed again and again. Chapter 300. The card read, "I'm really sorry for accidentally hitting your car this time. The car has been fixed. Next time, I'll try not to hit you so hard. Next time." There was a next time. She even said she wouldn't hit him so hard. Then what was the impact? How could she control the severity of the collision? Huamin was furious. He pulled out the lilies from the car, threw them on the ground, and stepped on them. "Hey, head nurse, what's wrong?" Nan Nan happened to be at work. When she passed by, she saw the head nurse stepping on the flowers and immediately went up to see what was going on. "Nothing, I don't know which pervert gave it to me, but I thought it was bad luck, so I stepped on it." "What a pity, it's such a big bouquet." Nan Nan smiled. Although Su Yu's apology letter was weird, at least the car was fixed and looked better than before. GK headquarters. After the executive meeting, Jiang Linyue couldn't wait to enter the president's office. "What's up?" "President Qin, about what happened last night." Jiang Linyue seemed like she wanted to say something. "About what happened last night, I happen to have something to tell you. Your perfunctory work ends here. You don't have to see my mother in the future, and you don't have to help me hide it, because I already made it clear to her last night." President Qin. Jiang Linyue didn't think Chin Chu would be so unreasonable. "You can go to the finance department to get your reward. Don't come to my house again, that's all." President Qin. "I don't want a reward, I just want to get out." Before Jiang Linyue could finish, Chin Chu asked her to leave. He didn't have time to listen to these women cry and complain. Other than Huamin, he didn't care about any other woman. Jiang Linyue walked out of the president's office with tears in her eyes. She was in a terrible mood. "Director Jiang, are you okay?" Even Assistant Yang could tell that something was wrong. Jiang Linyue shook her head and quickly ran downstairs. She was in low spirits the entire day. She performed so well at the company, and even worked overtime often, all because she wanted Qin Chu to take a second look at her. However, just when she thought she was about to succeed, everything was ruined. The president's wife had basically given up on her. She could tell from her attitude towards her last night. So if he wanted to fantasize in the future, he could only rely on himself. Jiang Linyue leaned over her desk and cried for a while. Finally, she picked up a tissue and elegantly wiped her red and swollen eyes. Was Qin Chu ignoring her because of that woman? If that woman disappeared from this world, would he still have a chance? Then, Jiang Linyue pulled herself together, and viciousness flashed across her eyes. Lunchtime staff canteen Jiang Linyue carried the cutlery and sat down across from Assistant Yang. "Can I sit here?" Jiang Linyue smiled. "Director Jiang, please." Assistant Yang was very polite to Jiang Linyue. First of all, he thought that this woman was very capable and beautiful. She was also a decent employee at the company, and he had never heard of her having a scandal with a man. "Assistant Yang, have you gone on a business trip with the president recently?" "Yeah, the president doesn't seem to like to go on business trips. He only goes out once in a while. Even if it's in the middle of the night, he still has to catch a flight back home." Yang had already grasped the president's longing for home. Does the president have a woman he likes? Finally, Jiang Linyue asked the main question. "I'm not sure. I don't dare to ask about the president's private life. It should be the woman who came to the president's office last time. She's the president's girlfriend, right?" I'm not sure." Assistant Yang was naive, but he wasn't stupid. He only gave a vague answer to Jiang Linyue's question. "Director Jiang, you seem to be very interested in the president's affairs." Assistant Yang asked. "Oh, it's because the president's wife always asks me, but I'm not always by the president's side, so I can't answer her questions. I feel quite guilty for letting her down." "Oh, I see." Assistant Yang smiled and didn't say anything else. At the end of their conversation, Jiang Linyue suddenly asked, "Assistant Yang, don't tell me you don't know the president's new address?" "Do you want the president's new address?" "Yeah, because the president's wife said that she's worried that the president won't be able to take care of himself when he's living outside. She told me to buy some daily necessities for him, but I don't even know where the president lives. It's so awkward." Jiang Linyue smiled. Assistant Yang was a bit conflicted. He wasn't sure if this woman was telling the truth. Should he really tell her the address? Chapter 301. How about this, why don't you ask the president directly? You know that the president has a weird temper. If I tell you directly and say the wrong thing, I might lose my job. Please understand, Director Jiang. Assistant Yang wasn't an idiot. There was no way he would fall for Jiang Linyue's trick so easily. Jiang Linyue's expression changed slightly upon hearing this. She then smiled and said, "Okay, I'll ask President Qin when I have time." Jiang Linyue saw that she couldn't get any more information from Assistant Yang, so she gave up and left. Ever since Assistant Yang came to GK, he was very grateful for the president's promotion, even though the president had a weird temper and was a little weird. However, he treated his subordinates well and treated them well. Many people were jealous of his treatment. Therefore, even if the president or his wife came, he wouldn't say anything. It had always been his belief to be loyal to his boss. As a person, he couldn't be half-hearted. When Huamin got off work at Southside, she was in the mood to go shopping and buy some shoes for the new season. At the Wanda Plaza in the city center, Huamian was wearing a dark gray sportswear with a cute Totoro pattern on it. It made her look younger than she already was and made her look like a college student. After shopping for a while, she was a little tired and didn't buy anything. Finally, she went to a Starbucks for coffee. As soon as Huamin walked in, she saw two familiar figures. If she wasn't mistaken, those were Ning Ziyuan and He-Man. Why were they together? At this moment, Ning Ziyuan looked up by accident. When he saw Huamian, his expression froze. He-Man saw Ning Ziyuan's reaction and looked back. Then, she smiled mockingly at Huamin. Huamin didn't plan on greeting them, he just found a seat and sat down. Then, he ordered an iced mocha. Ning Ziyuan, on the other hand, couldn't stay calm. He got up and walked over. Mian, are you alone? Huamin nodded but didn't say anything. I haven't thanked you properly for last time, I'll buy you dinner when I have time. No need. Huamin's voice was indifferent. Just then, He-Man got up and walked over. She put her hand on Ning Ziyuan's shoulder and smiled at Huamin. What a coincidence, I didn't expect to see you here. I heard you got promoted to head nurse, not bad. Huamin looked up and glanced at He-Man coldly. You get the news. In fact, she was extremely disgusted with He-Man, because she always felt that He-Man's heart was too dark. Wu Xiaoxue, on the other hand, hated Huamian openly. She didn't have to resort to underhanded means to deal with her. On the other hand, He-Man was the opposite. She liked to hide in the dark and stir up trouble. She was a villain. Even call her a scheming bitch. How did I not know about this big deal? You must have done well to get promoted so quickly. I heard that Deputy Director Guo likes innocent women like you. You look so pure on the outside. Obviously, He-Man was implying that Huamian must have had something going on with Deputy Director Guo since she got promoted so quickly. To her surprise, Huamin smiled and replied, since you've already left the hospital, stop criticizing me. It won't do you any good. Then, Huamin stared at Ning Ziyuan and warned him calmly, if I remember correctly, you're done. Your wife is Wu Xiaoxue, and she's pregnant. Don't do anything out of line. After all, if President Wu finds out, it won't help your job. You should be content with what you have and know your place. Mian, you misunderstood. I only saw her today because... Ning Ziyuan wanted to explain. Huamin was no longer in the mood to listen. He got up and left. Sorry, I have something else to do. This woman is still so annoying, He-Man said viciously as she looked at Huamin's back. He-Man, why did you ask me to come here? If you're not going to tell me, I'm leaving. Ning Ziyuan turned around and looked at He-Man. He had completely lost his patience and his attitude was bad.